Welcome, everybody. It's been a long couple weeks, but we're back on Monday nights. It's the HTL Cup Series, Race 3 from Kansas Speedway here this evening. I'm Carmen alongside me, Kristina Ryan, to bring you tonight's action from the Midwest. Kristina, it's been a long 2 weeks, but we're back at it, and it's been frantic on track. We're going to have bump qualifying once again. How crazy has it been on track?
Well, I've been sitting atop the box for a bit in turn one, was watching them for a while before I got into the booth officially, and I'm definitely interested to see how these cars take on this track. Of course, you and I both know I have some good memories around this circuit. Feels one of the best circuits for stock car racing, in my opinion. You have that progressive banking on the top, and that's what we're going to be seeing a lot of people doing tonight, I think. We have a lot of people running that high lane, but we're also seeing people experiment with the bottom lane, too. It's going to be risk versus reward with these spoilers. Of course, they're not the baby spoilers, but they're not too large either, and of course, these cars have always been providing handling issues from the drop of the green flag at Daytona, so I think it's going to be a lot about tire management and how much you think you can get that right rear near the wall, as we see Gaiman trying out now.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Kansas, pretty popular track, I would say, as far as AVN fans go. Obviously, you think about the Champ Car race that you got the championship in, but also just outside of it, it's one of the best mile and a halves, I think, as far as just any sort of racing you put here, whether it's stock cars, open wheelers, you name it, and it can race well here. Josh Gaiman's currently third on the board, as you can tell, trying to see what line's going to work as far as getting the lap times. George Jewell, top of the board at the moment. He's a driver that we've been talking about, not locked in. There's no charter behind that 07. And so far, looking at the speed that he's put in so far, may be in with a shout here to possibly do a little bit more than just get a top 10 tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. George has been getting stronger, it seems, every week that he shows up to a race. And tonight, no shortage. He's definitely looking like he's going to be a pretty easy lock-in tonight, unless he makes a mistake on qualifying. But that's another thing to keep in mind. We're expecting there to be 3 go-home drivers tonight. So third week in a row where it looks as if we're going to have people headed home a bit early. So that's probably the first thing on George's mind, but I think he should get in the show pretty easy. And if he can indeed get in, he will definitely be a threat for a top 5 or maybe even the win.
And so again, we're looking at Josh Gaiman, who almost got his first pole and debut 2 weeks ago at Michigan. Behind him, Nathan Estep. And something you're going to kind of see here with this theme is a lot of cars running a teal variant to the liveries. Nathan Estep's one. We'll look a little bit further back. There's Shad Swatsworth, all the Titletown cars. There's the 72. Caleb Collins for Rage Motorsports. For several drivers in this community, it is a heavier heart race. This race, it's been a tradition now every season. It's in support of Wendy Jackson, a family member for Wes Fuller, who passed away from cancer back in 2010. A lot of drivers have shown solidarity with Wes Fuller throughout the I guess the years, really, because this dates back before they moved to iRacing. But she passed away in 2010 with cervical cancer, and obviously everyone running the teal colors between those 2 or 3 teams showing their support for Fuller and his family tonight at Kansas.
Yeah, immense respect between these drivers on the racetrack, as we've seen for the last couple of weeks, both in Daytona and now into Michigan after Speed Weeks as far as racecraft. But we've been seeing this on and off as well from the very start of the season, of course, with the Jimmy Strong, and then we've moved on and we've had tribute cars left and right. These drivers have each other's backs. They have a lot of respect for one another on and off of the circuit, and it's really cool to see, of course. Going to be racing in honor. A lot of drivers will be. We're also racing on Martin Luther King Day, so there's quite a few liveries out there for that as well, which is quite interesting. There's a lot of special paint schemes out tonight, but yeah, lots of good causes tonight.
Yeah, there's one of them you see on your screen right there, DJ Anderson, the 23, running a special livery, as is the 25 of Blake Henderson, running a special tribute livery for Martin Luther King Jr. There's a lot of very tasteful liveries on track tonight. This field doesn't miss. Just up and down. Just look up and down the pit lane and through the paddock. Just a lot of amazing cars tonight. You can tell that it's like the first official night race. That vibe, we talked about it before the mics went hot. Just how everything feels special. Like it's like almost like something ornamental, as far as just how vibrant everything feels. And it's what a place to be with being at Kansas, with it being just such a phenomenal track with so much history. Just going to be a lot of fun here. Obviously, a lot of action going on throughout here. Dustin Hall, pretty amped up. Obviously, a special time. Michael Conti, I slurred that a lot. Michael Conti announcing that he'd be stepping away from the competitive scene at the end of 2023. But still a huge team there for Team Conti that are still going to be hanging around and racing in the iRacing scene. Dustin Hall included in that. Dustin Hall, one of the engineers for Michael Conti and the Coca-Cola Coca-Cola Series that NASCAR puts on iRacing. So a lot of experience here. He almost won 2 weeks ago. Ooh.
Yeah, he really did. And he's finding the limits here tonight. As you see, smacks the wall. He's beautifully placed through 1 and 2, got just the right amount out of that car, and then found the limit in 4, which is definitely one of the trickiest corners on this track, is turn number 4. That seems like the safer barrier just jumps out at you as you come out of there. We've seen people years and years at a time. They will spin in between 3 and 4. There's a bump there. There's also a deep bump in turn number 1 on the high lane. It is a very tricky racetrack, but one that's incredibly rewarding for drivers who are brave enough to conquer it. So you also have the seams as well, and they can use that apron throughout the race. This is one of the tracks where you are allowed to do so, and we'll probably see a couple cars down there even during on the caution laps, because the choose cone rule is in effect as well. So that'll be something to keep an eye on once we get to the race. But of course, we still have full single car qualifying to go, and that is going to be in about 2 and some change as we get towards the end. There's another one of our new liveries for this weekend, a beautiful looking number 22 of Gary Donaldson. That car absolutely popping in the nighttime.
It's almost like there's a competition between 2 of the major design teams in HTL. I see Henderson Graphics, you got Goose Graphics in here as well. And it's just like the back and forth as far as who can be more grandiose than the other. It just keeps popping forward. Obviously, you see the chrome, the metallic blue and the white and the matte black on that car. Absolutely phenomenal. And the way it pops at night is... It was made for this race, and it looks so good.
Yeah, absolutely. The spec map was done beautifully. Really well done on that, and a good mixture of the spec maps as well. It's going to make any painter in the chat very happy, and as one myself, I'm very impressed with that scheme. And as you were saying, so many great schemes on here. She's not on the track at the moment, but I'm honored to have one of my cars once again in the field. So I know I was talking to Caitlin about her car. She's been super, super excited for the first night race so that she can bust this one out. So we'll see that number 11 with a new scheme as well. Last week's winner had the original white scheme with the stripes on the side. Stripes still there up the hood, but it's a Vanta Black livery, very reminiscent to Vettel's Singapore helmet in car form. And Carmen, I'll tell you what, seeing the lights bounce off of anything that wasn't the base color of that car looked so good.
I saw it running around before we went live, and obviously Katie's made her way back to pit lane, as have most of the drivers in the field, getting ready for qualifying here in just a couple moments time. Walking you through sort of what everything's going to look like here. Race 3 of 21, ignore some of the incorrect graphics there. This track's been open only for about 20 years. It held its first race in 2001. Jeff Gordon won that race. And it's taken the hearts of a lot of stock car racing fans throughout the years here. You just look at like how many memorable moments have come from Kansas Speedway throughout the years. You obviously, you're a stock car ace, a NASCAR collegiate driver. You won your national championship in ABN here at this track. What are they going to be looking forward to tonight as we get ready for qualifying?
For qualifying, they're going to be looking forward to this track because it's one of the few tracks on the schedule where you want to rip the top. I'm not sure exactly with this setup if it is going to be better or not to run the top, but typically in the past years, running the top of the racetrack has always been the best way around here. It's going to be fun to see how these drivers negotiate that. I'm sure we'll see some drivers try some wild card moves, maybe try the middle or the bottom. But with that extra banking on the top, it's going to be hard to beat, especially with that air bubble that these cars generate up there. One thing's for sure, it's going to be fun. It's going to be a little bit sketchy for some, and I think we might see a lot more incidents this time around than we have in the past couple of rounds because they will be running pretty close to that wall, and it's very easy to make a mistake.
Drivers getting ready to line up for the qualifying order. Blake Howell, I believe, will be the first on the qualifying order list. Well, we're going to double check on that just to be sure. But I believe Blake Howell is going to be the first one to qualify. He is the first one in line. Just looking for it. Yes, Blake Howell, then William Britton, then Brandon Proudfoot would be the first three to get qualifying times going here this evening. And
yeah, we do have a full hour of time should we need it, but odds are we will not. And what I heard in the chat from race control, it appears that only 2 drivers are going to be going home tonight.
Correct.
So still going to be sending some people home, but it's not going to be the 3 that we expected. It's going to be 1 person getting in by virtue of just field spread. So that's 1 more person that does not have to worry about going home, and that's 2 people now that are going to be really upset because they're the only 2 that will not make the field.
It was interesting because the variation in the entry list kind of changed throughout the day because we saw upwards of 40 make the list, which obviously would have meant 4 cars going home. We've dropped down to 38. But that's still, obviously, you look about how we started the season at Daytona. We had 39 there. We had 39 at Michigan. We have 38 here. 3 races in. It's been over a month now since the start of the season. And they're still drawing the excess, the entries of like, hey, like you have to race your way in. That is an incredible tale of just how popular this series is among drivers here to be at this crossroads still over a month in.
Yeah, it's really awesome. Honestly, it's one of those deals. So we still have not got any cars on track yet. I think they're trying to sort out the order a bit. It sounds like there's a little bit of not necessarily frustration, but there's a little bit of well, when you have to organize 40-some drivers and get them on the pit lane the correct way and send them out in the right order, and people are going to the bathroom, people are adjusting their setups, people are adjusting their wheels, it takes a minute to get everybody lined up the proper way. But here we're starting to get cars rolling out, and then they're about to get them sent out. And I think the 95 just got the call to go ahead, and there he goes. So we're about to get underway here for single car qualifying.
After a short little administrative delay, qualifying has now begun here at Kansas for the Wendy Joe Memorial 200. Blake Howell making his official debut for Rage Motorsports. That team continues to grow. It's an uncharted entry. But number 95 with the Red Duck Comics on the car. Gonna try to
Very
do
neat
phenomenal
car.
stuff. Absolutely.
Well, let's see what he can do here. Coming down to start his lap. Again, 1 lap for these drivers. They only get 1 shot at it across the apron here. I imagine he's going to try to hang it up on that top lane. Yes, he will. He's going to get nice and comfortable with the wall. Packing that air on there, leaving a little bit of room. So a little bit conservative, but he's going to let it fade up out of the corner, which is what you really want to have. Going to probably ride still up there. Actually going to cut down low in 3 and 4 here, so that could be the play for him. It's definitely the one that he's chosen to stick with. It looks like a pretty good lap. We'll have no idea how good of a lap it truly is until more cars are on track, but definitely a strong, solid start to qualifying. It's going to be a 31.29. Not bad at all from Howell.
Next up is going to be William Britton, I believe. See if we can pivot over to
Correct.
William Britton. He didn't get to qualify for the race at Michigan 2 weeks ago. Got bumped out of qualifying. Hoping to do a little bit better this time around. Let's see, there is best finish 12th at Chicagoland during the 8-pack challenge. Here he goes.
See what he can do here. Gonna send it off into 3 and 4. Not gonna use the top lane to try and wind up the speed there, going straight down on the bottom, maybe trying to get a little more heat in that right front tire headed off in the first corner. Most drivers are gonna take the top through 3 and 4 on that wind up, so we'll see what happens here. The Oregon native gonna send it off for Stepping Stone. Their first of their entries to qualify. A bit tight, entered low and slides up, but lets the air catch that car. Oh, and clips the wall. And that's going to be a 0x, Carmen, and that's not what Britain was going to want, because that means lap invalidated, and that's pretty much an immediate go home.
So it looks like in the entry list has continued to change because there's been another withdrawal from the list. So there's only one car going home.
And right now it's going to be Britain because he did not set a valid lap time, and you only get one shot at it. So the goal now for any go or go homer is just turn a lap, and that by default will knock Britain out. So that's the goal for any go or go homer left. Not sure what happens if 2 drivers don't set a time, but here's Hunter Whitlock. No worries here about making the field in that FedEx machine. Ooh. Oh, but it's going to get loose. Good catch there. Caught the seam. We know that gave us a lot of troubles in Champ Car competition.
Yeah.
Good catch though for Hunter, but this is not going to be a lap to talk home about. And he clips the wall out of 4. So as we predicted here already, drivers struggling, and that will not give a lap time for Hunter Whitlock. So it's still Howell on top by default.
Scott Poznansky in the number 12. Racing in the uncharted number 12 Chevrolet. He's a deep racing driver, but he's racing in an uncharted entry. Sitting right now.
We've seen a lot of Poznansky's talent already this season.
Ooh.
Oh, but he's gotten to the wall too.
This is going to be very interesting.
I don't think he's going to get away with that one because he may have gotten lucky. But I'm pretty sure that was hard enough of an impact to trigger a 0x from iRacing. And I think he knows it because it doesn't look very confident through 3 and 4 either. He didn't need to do that, Carmen. He just needed to turn a lap. And yeah, he does not appear on the leaderboard. So his time has been thrown out as well. So we are 1 for 4. And that's 2 now, at least 2 of our go or go home, or actually they're all go or go home drivers so far, if I'm not mistaken, minus Whitlock.
Yeah, Whitlock's safe. He just didn't race at Michigan. But yeah, this is a problem.
So what happens now? Because
I don't know. Do you give him a shootout? I honestly don't know what you do here.
Would it be the first one who turned a lap? Would they be able to find a lap?
Because
whoever had the fastest lap with an X.
The way I think it's going to go is I think it's based off of points. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's going to be a tough call. George Jewell, though, another one of those that are not locked in, but he has been incredibly strong in practice. Very low. He knows what he needs to do. He's put down his lap. He didn't need to put down the fastest lap. He was just in the show if he made it across the line at this point because everyone around him is blown their lap. And the one of Bryce Bohr gets in the wall, too. I don't think these guys are counteracting for the fact that we were practicing in the nighttime and we're qualifying in the heat. I don't think they were ready for that.
Well, you look at these drivers that we're seeing that are running, they're in the cars. They're not able to see. They don't have a screen in those cars to tell them, hey, here's what's going on in 1 and 2 right now. So they're all just flying by. Now, the drivers that are beginning to come out now, you look at Alfred Denny, he's on the list. He's going to know because he wasn't initially in that queue. So he was able to see the first couple go through.
Well, it doesn't matter at that point, though, Carmen, because you're looking at the lap times and you've seen 5 or 6 cars come out on the racetrack. And there's only 2 people on the timing and scoring tower. That tells you that these people are having their laps thrown out. If you're a go or go homer, it doesn't matter if you run a 1-minute lap time. If you put down a lap time, you automatically are in the show at this point. It's kind of interesting to me that there are a lot of people that took that risk and may not make their race because of it now, but we'll see what happens. Alfred Denny in the 21 machine. Gonna finally get a lap down. Will be the third one to put a lap down. And across the line, we'll see if it's good enough for provisional pole.
It is not.
It is not, but it is keep in mind, even if those drivers that have hit the wall are going to make the show, they're going to be behind these drivers. So it's still not a bad effort. We've cycled through, what, 7 drivers now? 8 drivers?
Yes,
and only 3 have put a time down.
Looking to see who's on the track now.
Does not look like anybody has got on the track yet. It's just Denny. So there might be a stoppage here.
There might be a stoppage because most of those that are non-chartered have already qualified or have already made an attempt.
Yeah.
So they may try to figure that out while we're at it here. That is an interesting conundrum. Obviously, Alfred Denny making it back to pit lane. He's currently qualified in 3rd place.
They just said Jacob got the call, so Jacob is apparently going to go. It is absolute confusion and pandemonium in the voice chat right now, though, Carmen. There is a lot of confusion and a lot of people that we don't know what's going on right now. So,
as it was pointed out, this was something that was chosen by the drivers. Obviously, practice was at night, the race will be in the evening, so that made sense. But they elected to have qualifying in the heat of the day. That was a community-voted decision, and then the drivers that have voted on that decision have gone and made a mess of turns 1 and 2 and invalidated the lap times.
You know what? I think that's I would still vote for that, because I think that's part of how it is. That's kind of realistic. You know, you come in, you qualify in the daytime. NASCAR almost always is qualified in separate conditions, except for rare instances, than what we had on race day. This is just something you need to get used to. Stepping Stone Motorsports' Jacob Shangle here going to just taper that 50 car down on that middle lane, not catch that, use that seam to help turn the car, but not get too much rotation out of it like what we saw earlier. But, you know, I agree with this format. But I think these drivers just weren't expecting it. I think they underestimated how sensitive these cars are, especially in a situation of the temperature sensitivity. But Jacob Shangle puts down a lap time good enough for 4th currently and has some issues getting that car woed down, but does do so. And Tyler Rex, I believe, is up next now, and he just started his lap and is into turn 1.
Alrighty, so while Tyler Rex qualifies here, Blake Henderson, one of the HTL board of directors here, is going to tell us kind of what's going on here.
So we got a weird situation where 3 uncharted cars, William Britton, Scott Posnanski, and George Jewell all had an invalidated lap time because they hit the wall. So we don't know who to send home because only one's getting sent home. So what we're going to do, after everyone qualifies, we're going to line up those 3 again, and they're going to attempt to set another qualifying lap. Now, the top 2 out of those 3 on the second attempt will make the race, but they will start at the end of the line going into the actual race.
Okay. Sorry, you said George Jewell was one of those drivers? Because he's currently set 2nd in the time chart.
Oh, did he? Wow, well...
It was Posnanski, Britton, and...
I think it was...
We're looking through the list here. Posnanski, Britton, and...
I think it was one of the Stepping Stone cars, was it? Was it not? Maybe it was just those. It was Bora got his thrown out, but he's in. So
yeah, because Whitlock also invalidated, as did Bora, but those 2 are chartered cars.
Okay, well, nonetheless, it's still going to be
sudden death
Posnanski and I already forgot the other one. Posnanski and Britton will have to set another qualifying lap just to. And nevertheless, they will start at the end of the line because it kind of wouldn't be fair to everybody else that had an invalidated lap time, but we just need to figure out who's going to make the show. So,
gotcha. All right.
Well, that makes sense. Enough. Thank you for that info.
Yep. See y'all.
You could hear the lightheartedness in that, though. It's just such a unique situation to have. But yeah, I guess that's fair enough. I mean, you got to decide who makes it. It's better than pulling straws. So. Meanwhile, as that was going on, McBride goes 5th, now gets pushed down to 6th because Peltier Sharp goes 3rd. Rex went 4th, McBride 6th, and I think those were the ones we missed because Shangle put down the 7th already. And now Matthew Boone is on track, and Boone had the most laps in practice of anybody. He ran 106 laps in the practice session in that number 83 machine. So let's see if that pays off for him. He ran the bottom in 1 and 2, which I was a little surprised about. So we'll see what that car can pull here in 3 and 4. Really nice 3 and 4 though, tapered down right on that white line. Comes across on the apron. We'll see what we have. Matthew Boone is going to put it second fastest right behind the 95 machine. So despite running, Carmen, pretty critically, despite running bottom around both turns, ended up with the second fastest lap time so far. That's really not too bad at all.
I wonder if there's something to that. Obviously, we see it at Daytona, right? You run the outside the first lap, then you go straight to the bottom for your qualifying lap.
Oh, Anderson clips the wall.
Yeah, that's an invalidated lap time. But you see...
But it is in on the charter, so nothing to worry about there.
Yeah. I wonder if it's similar mentality here with Kansas. Run the outside the first lap and then Doug it's the inside because you don't want to overheat the tires still. And you're still putting a lot of load on the tires to the corners because you want to go as flat out as possible.
Well, I'm not sure. Josh Gaiman is up next. He's another uncharted driver, so this is going to be pretty critical to see if he can actually complete the lap here. I don't know. I think the top is the fastest, but I almost feel like people are just scared to run up there because you only get the one shot at it. You saw Gaiman put it up there and it worked very nicely. If he can get a good 3 and 4, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't go top of the charts. We know how fast he is. The inside typically is not the better lane in stock cars. So, and you can see Gaiman running the top perfectly placed through 3 and 4 there. You saw him running right down on the seam. I think this will be top of charts, Carmen.
Well, we're going to find out here in a moment. It was purple sector 2 and it is top of the
chart. And it is. So that confirms that I think these guys are just too scared, which is fair enough because you want to run what you in your limits. But I think a lot of these guys are seeing what everybody's doing. I don't think they're ready for the heat. I think they're a little bit worried to run that lane. And now we see Wes Fuller run a bit lower as well. So, but currently Gaiman on pole with a double top side. So we'll see what Fuller does in 3 and 4. Run in the middle in 1 and 2, runs the top in 3 and 4. Very interesting lane here. Now cuts down late for a late apex and then comes down to the apron. Very interesting line from Wes Fuller, but at the line, only good enough for 6th. Not too bad, but I think Wes himself would probably want a little bit more out of that. But time on the board, so that with it, keep that in mind still, not too bad. Moutre up next now.
Yeah, Moutre running his lap time here, trying to get into the top 10. For Tombstone Motorsports.
Another one of those cars that's going to look really, really nice once the lights come on. You can see how that 44 shines already. Thing looked really elegant under the lights. Coming across the line, though. Tapers down on the apron, gets right down to the grass, as we've seen everyone do so far, and it's going to be 7th, so right behind Fuller. I think E-Step is next, the 55
Absolutely.
Machine.
Need to correct that. It's 3 career wins for E-Step now with his Daytona win.
Again, E-Step and Height, the 2 winners thus far this season. Really nicely done through turns 1 and 2 there. I listened inside that car. He was off the throttle for quite a minute. Back on the throttle now, though, is that IROC-esque looking machine. Heads off into 3 and 4. Once again on the top lane. This might give Gaiman a run for his money. It's a really clean lap from E-Step. Going to be looking for his 4th career win tonight. And across the line for number 55, it's position number 7. Maybe a little too much off throttle time there. Maybe not leading that car up on the air bubble quite enough. I thought that lap would go a little bit faster, but I suppose not. Spencer Teal up next from South Carolina.
Spencer Teal filling in for Thad Failer in the IRLC Motorsports machine. That is close. Very
stranger.
Close.
Yeah, absolutely no stranger to the safer barrier there, but that's the fast way around. So we'll see here what he does in 3 and 4. Gets down there on that seam. You can see it really well in this angle. See how you see the car pitch there? Do you see how it changed? That's the banking differential at its best right there. He used the banking differential to turn that car, and across the line, number 42 is gonna go 4th fastest. Very nice lap from Teal. That was such a good shot because you could see him change lanes and watch the car react to that. That is what the difference is, and that's why that top lane is so fast. Smith for E-Snacks takes that number 29 machine off into turn number 1. and he's going to go for the middle.
Yeah, Matt Smith sitting in position. His teammate Bryce Bohr didn't get to set a valid lap time tag. The wall in turns 1 and 2. Smith didn't make the same mistake, and it shows right now. Smith sitting smack dab in the middle of the track there, closer to the middle, closer to the top, but still,
yeah, he backed up a lot, tried to get a late apex, but I think the car pushed.
Good enough
But it's
to be
still
fifth.
enough for 5th, yeah. It's interesting to watch these guys throw down laps that are just so drastically different from anyone else we've seen and still throw it up in the top 10.
It's sort of similar to how we saw in Michigan. There was so many different lines to play with 2 weeks ago in qualifying, and you didn't know what the fastest line was going to be. It took Dustin Hall literally almost throwing the car away to get pole.
Yeah.
As we see Swatsworth staying up near the wall here. But
And that's the other fun thing. Yeah, sorry to cut you off, but that's the other fun thing about qualifying in the daytime. We're going to get to do this all over again when the green flag drops, because now they're going to have to all adjust that car and see how it does in the nighttime and figure out what lanes work under the lights. So that's another reason why I love this kind of qualifying. And Swatsworth goes fastest. Not very surprising. You could see coming out of turn 4, that man had about an inch between that right rear tire and the safer barrier, but it paid off. You're not having deja vu. That's Ricky Gonzalez in the number 7 machine. Very similarly schemed car. Same tail to that number 7 as the number 4. Gonzalez, the rookie, going for a lower lane in 3 and 4 this time around. Not going to match Swatsworth, but we'll see what happens out of 4. Going to let it fade up, and he just clips the wall. That's what Swatsworth avoided by a couple of millimeters. Unfortunately, not the case for Gonzalez, and that lap's going to get thrown out.
Gary Donaldson.
Yeah, what a looker.
Yeah, this is arguably one of the best liveries on the grid tonight. Right now, Donaldson on the track for Team Sim Motorsports. Ryan Moutre's already run. We're going to see Marcus Chafin making his first start as a substitute for Zach Apperson in the 41, and then obviously Blake Henderson, then Tombstone's number 25 machine, will run later.
Yeah, keep in mind, this is such a unique qualifying format. That might be the first time he does this kind of qualifying. This is a lot to take in for the first time around. But Gary Donaldson, with 43 career starts, he's pretty used to the format by now. He's going to get that 22 tapered down. Now down the back straightaway, lets it fade up against the American Ethanol wall, and is going to opt for the top lane in 3 and 4. So we've seen top 1 and 2, bottom 3 and 4, top all the way around, bottom all the way around, middle all the way around, and now we've seen bottom 1 and 2, top 3 and 4. What an interesting spread. We'll see what it does for Gary, though. At the line,
P13.
P13.
Everyone having fun with the whole top versus bottom debate in the chat.
Well, let's see what Marcus Chafin does here.
Yeah. Temporary teammate there for Tombstone.
Oh, he's a bottom.
Oh.
Gets it tapered down in 1 and 2.
No, we have to see how 3 and 4 goes.
Yeah, it could be switched. Let's see. Now, what I want to know is, does he ride regular or goofy? Oh, it's a bottom all the way around.
Marcus Chafin in the 41. He comes back. His first race this season is this one. Abandons the number 8 for the 41, and here we go.
Well, he's going to abandon a DNQ for the last few races since he wasn't attempting, and is going to throw it in 13th. So, not a bad go around for him either.
Caleb Collins next on the board.
We have fun here. It's the qualifying portion, darn it.
Absolutely.
Another car very similar to Swatsworth and Gonzalez.
A little bit different. It's the Rage Motorsports machine of Caleb Collins. Rage Motorsports and 1776 will have slightly different schemes or different templates, but the same consensus in mind.
Same back bumper.
Yep.
Canyon, Texas, gonna navigate down once again and come across the line. It's gonna be enough for P5. Good lap from Collins.
Kevin Gibney Jr. is going to take his lap now.
Another great looking race car. That orange popped really well under the lights.
Reminds me of the Force India cars.
In
2014, 2015 cars. Absolutely. He's actually, so fun fact, he is the only driver so far in HTL with 0 incident points.
I have a feeling that's bound to change, but he has been very good around here. Of course, got into a lot of the drama at Michigan, whether he wanted to or not, although those X's don't count because that's post-race X's. And across the line, it's going to be P11.
Yeah, Kevin Gibney Jr., a big turnaround for him, because he was forced to sit out most of the season last season because he reached a incident point limit in the series. So what a turnaround for him to go from having the most incidents and having to sit out to now he's got a spotless record so far out of these first couple races in the season. John Gutekunst,
he had to jump out of the throttle out of 1 and 2 there. I don't think this will be a good lap, but
good looking scheme. Got the silver.
It is a very nice paint scheme for sure. But no, it's great. I think Kevin Gibney, the case of Kevin Gibney there proves that disciplinary action from leagues does work, and it can change how drivers behave. And I think that's great to see him come around, and he's had some good results. So, or even if he hasn't had the result necessarily, he's been running towards the mid pack and in the front. So it's keeping the car, taking care of the car, and it takes care of you, Carmen. It's the number 1 rule of motorsports beside don't wreck your teammate.
Woodard in the wall.
And Woodard does not get a lap time there, but is going to continue the lap. But now it's Cody Giles that's going to go up to try and slap a lap time down, and another car that's very much looking like a Vanta Black machine. It looks like a test car, but I mean that in a good way.
Yeah, you got the Vanta Black, and then you got the almost like the unbrushed silver for the decals. Absolutely phenomenal look there for Cody Giles. IRLC.
Got a really cool bit in the chat here. Wendy, Joe, and Wes Mama here. Good luck to all the Title Town and Rage guys. Thank you for running the Wendy Joe schemes. I love it. So from Mama Fuller 5.
Absolutely. Phenomenal being able to support that Wes Fuller's family for tonight's race. Obviously, very sentimental for them. And you see 10, 11 cars all grouped together in solidarity there.
It's great to see.
Absolutely. Mark Parkhurst, again, the 1776 drivers, all running pretty similar. You got the front end, and then you got the black as it trails off towards the bumper. Really good looking cars all the way through.
We'll see what he can get done. Of course, Parkhurst has had some very strong runs so far this season, was running tribute schemes all year, so running a bit of a different tribute scheme this weekend. We'll see what Mark can do. He's got a really nicely done turns 1 and 2 there, right up on the cushion. We'll see what he does here off into 3 and 4, really close to the wall on entry. Not much time off the throttle either. We'll see though how it does. Just a little bit of hesitation, a little bit of lift coming out of turn 4 to make sure it doesn't hit the wall, and across the line, Parkhurst is gonna go third fastest. Really, really good lap out of that 32 machine. Blake Henderson now coming to the line.
This is another really good paint scheme. I love the look of this. Just phenomenal. What him and DJ Anderson are running tonight, I think, are equally very impressive and very cool to see.
Yeah, like we said at the top of the show, all kinds of special paint schemes, either for tributes or for good causes or just for the heck of having the first night race of the season. Couldn't be happier to see all these cars on track. It's so cool to have such great talent on the track and so many great painters behind it all. Of course, we talk about Goose Graphics, Henderson Graphics. They tend to lead the field here with paint schemes, and Henderson's going to put it P8 tonight. So a good start so far for him. Looking for his 4th career win today. Angel Santiago up next to the number 90 machine.
This is another good looking car. White with the, obviously you got the metallic blue, and as it transitions to the black there, he's going to tag the wall. That's not going to count for lap time.
He might get away with that, but it really depends how hard he hit it. Either way, even if it does count that lap, there's a little bit of leeway on iRacing if you are just gentle enough, but I think that one might be too heavy. But even if it does count, it's not going to be very fast. He scrubbed a lot of speed, but should be safe in the show here. Number 90 does not put a time on the board, so it did not count.
Leave Dean Clavitt next on the board. There he is.
Yep.
Again.
The Canadian.
Yep. Dual nationalist. running a new livery. Oh, and he tags the wall.
Does not make it very far into the run. Dalton Hayes is up next and coming out of the pit lane, actually. So as Dean Clavitt spins, Dalton Hayes is going to have to pay attention here to not run into Dean Clavitt.
Look at this paint scheme. I didn't know this one was being run.
Yeah, this looks like the Dale Jr. Throwback car from, I think, 2014. Or it looks very much like a Dale Jr. scheme. I love that.
I didn't realize that was being run tonight, but it looks phenomenal on track.
I bet you're happy to see your logos on a car that looks that pretty.
You'd imagine I would know about this, but I didn't. So that's funny.
Nice little surprise. Hayes is going to try to get that number 96 into the top 15, I think. He was running up in the top 10 last weekend. I think he'd like to carry that momentum forward. You can still see the smoke haze there from Dean Clavitt's spin as he comes out of turn 2 this time around. Josh Gaiman saying, guys, this isn't Lernerville. There's a wall up there. Lots of talk from him, but he's allowed to do it. He's sitting second. He actually put a lap time down, so we'll see what happens for Hayes at the line.
P9.
Pretty nicely done, P9. So right as I thought, figured he'd get it around the top 15. He did one better, top 10. Here's Zachary Meredith.
Yeah, Zachary Meredith had an up and down race, passed the most cars of anyone in a single race, according to APN Analytics, since we began broadcasting back in November 2021.
I believe
112 passes for position at Michigan.
Who was the second place car on that, I wonder?
Not sure who the second place car as far as the passes were.
I feel like that'd either be a Carter comeback or Kruger comeback or one of those James Pierce recovery, get crashed recovery drives.
Right? Yeah, I'll have to go back and dig through the archives there. Meredith goes P9, moves
really
down
nice
to
lap.
10th. So Meredith trying to hopefully avoid the setbacks he saw at Michigan 2 weeks ago.
All right, here's Dustin Hall.
Yeah.
Previous pole sitter, most wins of anybody in HTL. Gonna set it down on the bottom. Interesting approach here. We'll see what it does. Remember, Swatsworth and Gaiman both ran their fastest laps towards the top of the racetrack. And Parker's, for that matter.
Yeah, Hall has a lot of experience, though. He is no one to slouch at. He knows a thing or two because he's done a thing or two. He's going to come to the start-finish line. I don't know if that's a pole lap.
It is. Provisional pole by the bottom of the track. Very well done.
Absolutely.
Right there shows what happens when you have an NASCAR driver coaching you. Very good lap from the Team Conti driver.
Yeah, so Dustin Hall cleared Gaiman's lap time, which you thought was extremely fast. Cleared up by 0.12 of a second.
And Katie Height down the back straightaway now.
Absolutely. Here we go. This is the paint scheme you're talking about a little bit earlier. The Vanta Black, and you can tell the difference between regular matte black and Vanta Black.
Yeah, that one pops really well. I'm not going to say too much. Can't pat myself on the back too hard, but across the line, we'll see what Katie can do. She'll put it third fastest, so lots of fast times being laid down here. Gaiman gets knocked down off the front row, now down to the second row with Hall and Height. Might go down to the third row even.
And now here we go. So this is determining who goes home and who stays. Whoever qualifies between William Britton and Scott Poznansky will make the show. Whoever doesn't qualify between these two obviously goes home. They will start at the back of the field, no matter where they end up placing on this list. They'll just start at the back of the field.
So to clarify, then, that does give the pole position for the second race running to Hall. And it'll be Swatsworth joining him on the front row, and then Height and Gaiman behind. So this is Britton going across now. As you said, critical moments now because it's going to be sudden death between these go-or-go-homers. I would think Poznansky has the advantage. And also, if Britton hits the wall here...
Like he almost did.
Almost did, but he's got to do that. It's go or go home. If you're the first one out, you got to lay everything out on the line. That's going to gain a lot for Britton because he's really... You could see how hard he's struggling with the handling there. He's trying so hard to get down a time. He is going to get a time this time. What's it going to be worth?
Number 64, 24th fastest. Poznansky about to start his lap time.
Yeah, Poznansky, who has shown time and time again how fast he can be. He just needs a clean lap, and I figure it would probably be faster, but Britton is hoping for a mistake from Poznansky.
Yeah, Britton was very conservative on that lap. But here we go.
Not only that, but Poznanski was really gentle on the throttle too. I don't know. This is going to be close. Really taking his time on the throttle, gets it tapered down though, trying to go the shortest way around. Comes out of turn number 4, going to cut down to the apron. We'll see. He needs to be 24th or better to stay in the race. And he's 23rd.
Poznanski
So
makes
it's going to
it.
get him in.
Poznanski makes it. Britain goes home. Again.
23rd and 25th. You don't think these guys were really fighting for a spot here?
Absolutely.
Couldn't have staged that any better. They split Alfred Denny on either side. But Poznanski's in, and Britain unfortunately not going to make the show. But how about that one?
Absolutely. So Poznanski makes it in. And now we get in the warm-up. Everyone's going to have kind of debrief and get ready to transition back into race setting, where, as you see, the sun's going down.
Yeah, Poznanski's got some work to do, though. He ran that lap that he knew would get him in the show, but now he's starting at the very tail end of the field. He doesn't get to start in 23rd. So he's got a lot of work to do to get up into a position like we've seen that number 12 perform earlier this year. So let's see.
Absolutely here.
Looking at the number 95 machine. Was the first car out to qualify when we started. It's been a long time since the 95's been back on track.
William Britton being a sport about it, just wishing everyone good luck before he left the track.
And speaking of, Joshua Gaiman, giving credit where credit's due there, said, wow, mega lap, that's close. So giving credit where credit's due to the number 3 machine of Dustin Hall, who once again, running a lane that we really wouldn't have thought in normal circumstances would have been the fastest lane. And once again ends up with pole position. So a true wheelman there, giving every little bit that he can to get that number 3 car on the pole for the second week in a row. Oh, hey, in the chat saying that was a way to round out quali. We should do this every week. I agree.
Absolutely.
Taking a look here at some of the cars going side by side down the front straightaway. Borer on the outside there. Looking at the 72 of Collins. Also, quick note, Carmen, probably doing 3 or 4 pace laps for the pre-race, so we get a little bit of extended pre-race there as you see Moutre just try and squeeze on the outside lane. And they're wrecking in front.
There, that was Clavitt and I believe Gibney.
And Borer and Pelletier Sharp.
And
they get Moutre as well. Well then, not ideal.
Yes, a little bit.
Trying to see what happened here. Might as well get your sillies out now, yeah?
That's the idea, at least.
Trying to see if we can get a better angle of what happened here. So it started with Clavitt, I believe. Of course, this is the pre-race warm-up, so just trying to... These guys are... Oh, wow. This is a long wreck for Clavitt. Let's see what happens here. Goes off into turn number 3. Gets loose. Hard hit to the wall. Many spins. Sliding down into traffic. Gets nailed by Gibney Jr. Then gets hit again by the rest of the field, and that's how the rest of them started wrecking into that. Poor Dean Clavitt. Gonna need to see a chiropractor after that one. Bryce Borer really nowhere to go, I don't think. Oh my goodness, that's Jacob Shangle. Came in on the hit late and goes for a tumble in the number 50 machine. Was trying to avoid all the chaos here, and...
That's an unnecessary roughness call if I've seen it.
Well, I don't know. He really had any say in the matter there. That's a huge impact and sends that 50 car up and over side, digs in. You can see the damage there as it rolls in the grass. So hopefully we don't see that in the race, but we'd already got our demolition derby moment for the day. The W Energy machine, I think, spilled all that over the front stretch there.
Absolutely. That was insanity. And there's more trouble.
I think they're having a bit of fun down there, if I'm not mistaken. Moutre just clipped the wall and slides down. It's the 42 machine.
I'm glad O'Hay got the reference there. Sportsmanlike conduct, 3-mile penalty.
Yeah. First down. I think I did that right,
Yeah,
right?
you did. You got it. You got it.
Well, what's the
Love it.
equivalent to roughing the kicker, hitting the pace car?
I was either roughing the kicker or roughing the quarterback. Either way. McDonald just on top of the board here in warm up, and then we're gonna jump straight into the race. Mm-hmm. So
Like we said, a few pace laps to boot, though, so we'll have time to go over all our stories. But
yeah, absolutely, we'll go over some of the onboards we got here for tonight. Kind of walking through as we get ready to end warm up here. There will be a salute parade to kick off the race here. Cars will go 4 wide. With, I know Wes Fuller's going to be in front. I believe another car is going to be up front with Fuller to lead the parade laps, and then everyone will get back into position to get ready to go for the Wendy Joe Memorial 200 here.
that's going to be a really cool thing to witness, I think.
So here's what it looks like. Again, ignore some of the incorrect graphics here. Race 3 of 21. Dustin Hall, pole position. Ahead of Shad Swatsworth, Caitlin Height, Josh Gaiman in the second row. That's a power pack top 4. I feel like we've seen this before. I feel like we saw this last race. Mark Parkhurst. Yeah, maybe a couple times. Mark Parkhurst.
We're getting used to it.
Yeah. Mark Parkhurst, again, top 5. He's looking to capitalize on some good results. Haven't had them come his way, but still working on it. And then number 32, Blake Howell in the top 6. On his debut, doing a really good job. Best of the Rage Motorsports machines, but that's the top 6 covered. Matthew Boone, the defending series champion, leads off the second half of the top 12.
Yeah, then you got Caleb Collins and Spencer Teal behind them with Blake Henderson and Zachary Meredith. Alongside Meredith is going to be Dalton Hayes for Arrowhead Racing. So nestled right into the top 15 where I think you wanted to get that car at. A little further down the field now, we have Matt Smith and George Jewell, one of those go-or-go homers that did a very good job once again. You got Pelletier, Sharp, and Fuller. Of course, Fuller going to be at the front of the field for a bit here. Kevin Gibney Jr. trying to hang on to that 0X record. It's going to be tough starting from a smack dab in the middle, but he's got good company with Nathan Eastep alongside and Ryan Moutre behind. Tyler Rex, the pole sitter from Daytona, P20 here. Marcus Chaffin and Gary Donaldson behind with Poznansky and Denny.
Yeah, and then we start getting into some of the shenanigans. William Britton, obviously, he qualified 25th fastest, but as the slowest of the non-charter cars will not get to race, so that'll move. It'll ultimately move McBride up a row by SCCC. Gudikan's a little further down than he wanted to be. McBride and Shangle down near the bottom as well. Cody Giles, Dean Clavitt, Ray round out row 15. Then you have Angel Santiago, Ricky Gonzalez. We're starting to get into a lot of the drivers that didn't have valid lap times, but they're chartered, so they were safe. Dylan McDonald and Bryce Bohr in row number 17. Row 18, Hunter Whitlock and Tyler Woodard. Then you have G.J. Anderson and Zach Woods. Zach Woods, one of the withdrawals here, and he will join William Britton on the couch for tonight's event.
I don't think they've left yet because there's some very cool scenes happening on the racetrack right now. McDonald and Fuller heading the field behind the Mustang pace car and the grid behind as we pay respects this afternoon.
Yeah, paying
it's
respects.
It's going to be a very emotional one.
Yeah, paying respects to Wendy Jackson. Again, this has been a tradition that has been forged in the HTL community. 3 seasons on iRacing. It goes all the way back to the NASCAR heat races that they did on Xbox. But Wes Fuller leading the way for these parade laps with the rest of the field. 36 cars in tow here for these early formation laps at Kansas.
Under the golden hour as well. This race will be scooting its way into the nighttime, but on board with Fuller there, that's a cool shot. Boy, wouldn't it be incredible if he picked up a win tonight for Titletown.
Absolutely. He's got a little bit of work to do to make it happen, but we've seen very weird things happen under just unordinary circumstances, and that's sort of just what Kansas provides. So tonight could be the night.
I think just about everybody's going to be rooting for that number 5 today. The fans in the grandstands on their feet, paying their respects. Everybody in chat as well. We love to see the support from both the teams, the fans, and the drivers. You can see them pull below the yellow line there, or the white line there, as McDonald lets the field by. That's another cool shot, as you can see pretty much the whole grid going by. And give you one more look at our starting lineup. Fuller on the top lane, McDonald on the apron as they fall back to their designated starting positions. And we get ready to start off a very exciting race at Kansas, but one with a really, really good message.
Getting ready to go green here as everyone gets back into position. Gonna make our way over to Dustin Hall. He's alongside Chad Swatsworth, Caitlin Height, Josh Gaiman, row 2. Then it's Mark Parkhurst and Blake Howell in row 3 on debut. Power Pack top 6 will lead to the green flag. Hall was denied by 1 position 2 weeks ago. Can he win tonight? We're going to find out here at the end of these 200 miles through the Geico restart zone. Green flag is in the air. We're underway at Kansas.
I got the stupidest smile on my face as I saw 40-odd cars pull off of turn number 3 there immediately. Height trying to go for position. They're 3 wide behind, but right now it's Hall and Height at the front of the field.
Yeah, Swatsworth got sort of jumped there. Just didn't get as good of a start as Hall. Height's been able to sort of predict Dustin Hall. They've raced each other so much over these first few races. So Height was able to kind of cue in on what Hall was going to do when he launched to get ready to go. Use that to her advantage. And so far, looking brilliant here, these opening laps as everyone tries to sell in.
Tell you what, Height got up on the back bumper there, Carmen, and gave that 3 car a little bit of a tandy down the back straightaway, wasting no time to put the bumper to bumper there and not only try and see if she can't scoot that 3 car ahead of the field, but see if maybe scoot that 3 car a little deeper into the corner than he wanted to go. But so far they are running line astern with Swatsworth, Gaiman, and Howell lined up behind. We've had a clean couple of first laps at least, and they're 3 wide in the mid-pack, so everybody's done a great job so far. And Dylan McDonald has ducked into the pit lane to serve that drive-through penalty, so he is now cleared on that. Now that's who you'll see on the apron there. Oh, we got trouble cars around, spinning in the middle of the field. That's the 96 of Hayes, I believe. Moutre's in it, and that is going to be a big crash to start off the race here. The 77 is in it. The 5 of Wes Fuller gets a piece of it, but it's still rolling. It's a mess on the back straightaway after 2 laps of racing.
So yeah, for Denny, looks like he might have been a part of it. I'm going to see what happened here. Obviously, we're looking at the replay.
Yeah, it already started at this point. I think it started up with Hayes. Yeah, give me just a moment here.
Matt Smith's a part of it. Looks like he was a part of it at the start.
Clavitt was one of the first cars involved, I believe, but it was actually... Let's see here.
Tyler Woodard.
No, it's still ahead of these guys, so it starts way up here with Moutre and Hayes.
It started because Hayes and
Hayes got loose out of 2 at the bottom of your screen there, and that's what started that.
And tagged Meredith, yeah, because they were top 10.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they were running quite well, actually. I think maybe, my guess here, we're going to try and get a closer look now that we know where this starts. My guess is that Hayes probably clips the seam here.
He's already riding it.
Mm-hmm. See here, waiting. It's that silver and black car. You see McDonald on the bottom. Had nothing to do with this. The 29 almost hits the wall, and Hayes just loses it and comes down and clips Meredith. And at this point, the track is pretty well blocked. Nowhere for the 29 car to go. You can see everybody darting low to try and get out of the way, but the track's blocked. I think that's Wes Fuller involved. It is. There's Moutre. Big hits to Dalton Hayes. He's probably got the most damage of anybody here. And as this is happening behind, there goes, that's Bohr that slides into it. Nowhere to go for him. That's the 6 of Giles.
Shangle split the C's.
Shangle splits the C's. Not so lucky for the 77. of Woodard.
Clavitt came to a stop. He was able to slow down in time.
Did Alfred Denny get through that without any damage? If he
Looks
did, it's
like
a mighty good job. Likewise for the 23.
DJ Anderson.
Let's see if we can get another look here from Denny's POV. I think Caitlin Height, and I don't know if it was related to this or a separate incident, but apparently no damage either. Well, right on board here. You're going to watch them start wrecking in front. You just got to pick a lane and hope it's the right one, and everybody in front.
He waited for it. He waited for it all to settle through and just kept the lane, and really good driving there for Denny to just let the wreck get away from him.
Yeah, likewise for Anderson. Let's ride on board with Hayes here and see if we can hear. Well, we won't be able to hear, but I can. But no, he just loses it there.
And this wreck gets hard.
Yeah, gets hit by about everybody but the snack bar. And, oh.
Now, luckily, everyone has one fast repair to use, but a chunk of the field has already just used their fast repair here. So that's not going to be pleasant.
Yeah, something's happened to Height here, so I'm taking one look at it. Not sure if this was post-caution or not. They were catching the pace car. Oh, Katie got turned. Oh, Katie got turned catching the pace car. It was the third place machine. Trying to see who that is. It's Swatsworth that comes up and just gets into the back of the 11 of Height. She bounces off the wall. She says no damage on the number 11 machine, which is surprising, but that's what's happened to her. She asked for an EOL. Very calm on the radio, so all things considered there, could have been worse for the number 11 machine, but she finds herself all the way back in 35th. There you saw the distance. There is Height, and there is our race leader as we get one to go. So.
Yeah, a lot of work for Caitlin Height to do from second down to 35th in the field. Again, everyone's still running, despite what the leaderboard may want to say on occasion. But here's how the top 20 looks. Swatsworth, Hall, Gaiman, Howe, not in any particular order. Hall will be leading this field to the restart. Over Swatsworth, then it's Howe, then Gaiman, Boone, and Parkhurst. Top 6 leading us to the green. As we get ready to go here, kind of just double checking on everything here. Stage is lap 25 and 75 are the stage breaks. Correct.
So it'll be about a 23, 22 lap dash, or I'm going to stop talking and let you do the talking here because I can't count.
Right. But here we go. Still have plenty of time left. Dustin Hall will lead us to the green flag. It's out in the air. And racing once again. Dustin Hall getting us underway. And Swatsworth, again, has not been able to kind of predict Dustin Hall's restarts. He's just very fortunate that Blake Howell couldn't really stay in tow with Dustin Hall the way Caitlin Height did in that initial restart.
Well, keep in mind as well that there's a very strong possibility that that number 4 car has damage on the nose from getting into the back of Height. While Height might not have any damage, it's not unsure whether or not the 4 does. So we'll keep an eye on that. They've made it through at least another lap here, so. And thank you, Oh Hey. 17 now laps remaining in the stage, so. It's an 18-lap shootout. Big dive there from Swatsworth, trying to go to the bottom on Howell. You see Gaiman just behind. Yeah, interesting to see everybody trying those different lines. I'm keeping an eye on Caitlin Height out of the corner of my eye here as she tries to make her way back up through the field. She's also running the bottom lane. Might be saving her stuff up here since she's already at the back too. Just keeping an eye on her because I know she's one of the faster cars on the track. It's going to be interesting to watch her come back up through the field. McBride as well, and the number 47 might be making moves up. And McDonald, this really bailed. Oh, we got a caution again. And back up into traffic. Spun. Oh, that's a big wreck.
And that is, I'm not sure who that was. I believe that may have been the 42 of Spencer Teal. We'll have to double check and verify who that was that spun.
Fuller's in it again.
Yeah, that's not going to be what you want to see.
I don't think there's too much damage on that car. I think he's just spun around, but for Fuller. But trying to have a look here myself to see what's happened again. I believe that one started with the 25.
It started in front of Henderson because we moved to Henderson right as the smoke began to start.
Yeah. So it was the 32 that got tagged on the way back up, but I'm trying to see.
I think it was Teal.
It is. I think so. Yes. Yes, it was Spencer Teal. And it spun off the 83 of Boone. So I've got it pulled up
Boone's
here.
Boone's coming into pit lane. So
yeah, it was a warning, I believe, was given to the 83. So here's a look at it here. Down the back straightaway. Watch Teal right behind Josh Gaiman. We were just looking at these guys a second ago.
Yeah.
Teal trying to follow Gaiman, maybe? Or is Boone going to come up?
Oh, he's coming up.
Yeah, we'll get a view from Peltier Sharp and see if that gives us any more insight. But Teal gets turned here, and then watch this. Nowhere to go.
Peltier Sharp got so lucky there, too.
Yeah,
wow.
but Gudekunst not so much. Gibney Jr.
Caleb Collins got a slam out of that.
Yeah, and then at this point, again, the track's kind of blocked. There's the 90 of Santiago in it.
Everyone just trying to get through again.
They're still wrecking down there. Too many to count, really.
Yeah, we as soon as we pivoted to see what the pan-out shot from turns 3 and 4, we saw just so many cars stuck in the bottom lane.
Yeah, just trying to get a rewind here to try and get tabs on who all was involved. I think Meredith gets through again. Woodard.
Alfred Denny again.
Yep, there's the 7 of Gonzalez, and that's where Fuller comes into the fray, and I think he spins in sympathy to try and not get any damage, so he goes around in reaction.
Yeah, because he saw Woodard was backwards, and he just pivoted it.
Yeah, so gonna see here. Give me just a moment.
So
So it's already happened at this point, but we'll try and ride on board with Peltier Sharp and try and see who moved up and who moved down. Do this from the hood cam here. It'll probably give us a little bit better picture. So watch the two in front of you.
We are 1 to green.
Oh, I think Teal moves down just a touch. I'm not gonna lie.
Peltier Sharp got so lucky with that too.
Mm-hmm.
If Teal had moved up any faster, it was all over.
Yeah, absolutely. So now rolling down the back straightaway. But yeah, 2 big wrecks to start this race off, and it's going to be 12 laps at the line to the end of the stage. I think it was a little column A, a little column B there, Carmen, but definitely did see Teal move down a bit.
Yeah, it kind of just depends on what perspective you're seeing, because we're looking at it from the infield, you see Boone move up, but looking from Peltier's perspective, you definitely see Teal move down a little bit as well.
Yeah.
But here we go. It's Swatsworth, Hall, Peltier, Sharp, and Howell top 4. As we get ready to go. Green flag in the air once again. A little over 10 laps to go. Make that 12 laps to go for the end of stage 1. Everyone making their way out of turns 1 and 2 into 3 and 4 now. Hall holds on to the lead. Howell holds on to second place. Peltier Sharp got loose. Swatsworth took the air off the back of that car. We talk about the higher spoiler.
But she gets down into.
She was 3 wide. It was Swatsworth.
He hangs on to it, and everybody scatters.
Wow. Rex in the wall, but they're going to try to navigate him.
Yeah, that was in reaction to that.
Oh,
good job. And now we got another one spinning.
That is Gibney.
So, and he's hard in the wall. So the 0x streak is over for Gibney, and it was again Peltier Sharp. So twice in 1 lap, Peltier Sharp makes contact. Let's having a look at what happened here. Caution is out for the third time today. The pace car on the back.
Yeah, you see Pelletier.
So this is the incident down the back
We have
stretch
to
again.
go back an entire lap.
Yeah. So it starts with Pelletier, Sharp, and Swatsworth here down out of turn number 4.
All right, so we gotta go further
Yeah,
back.
so let's see. It looks like she hits the wall because she started getting loose here. She made a big move into into the middle.
Yeah, because she was moving the bottom here because she's following Hal. Slides it, tags the seam. Swatsworth takes the air off the back of the car. Again, the larger spoilers, more prone to that. Then just hip check Swatsworth.
Yeah, who does an incredible job of saving it.
Yeah.
And then I wonder what happened. This is the one I haven't seen yet, but it looked like she came straight down the racetrack, like she maybe got loose. She's 3 wide in the middle now.
Yeah.
Oh, and she just bodies the 31 car. So twice in the same lap. Pelletier Sharp with a couple of rookie mistakes there, and cleans out two cars back to back.
Yeah, here we go. This is the higher view, and we're gonna slow it down because again,
see, watch if she hits that seam. I think she does. But I don't know because now she's clear of the seam. I'm not sure. We know that in Champ Car, she had an incident here, right in that same corner. Lost the back end of the Champ Car machine. I only bring that up because I have nightmares of it still.
Yeah, that was right in front of you, wasn't it?
It was. I have an onboard here if we want to try and ride this whole sequence out with her, try to get an understanding of what's happened. So this is coming into 3 and 4. So clips the seam, gets loose, holds on to it. Now coming down the front straightaway, just pretty much didn't get loose at all there. Just drove down into the Forest Swatsworth, who does a brilliant job of hanging on to that car. Now let's see again. Yeah, she kind of just... Oh, heavy lick for the 31 car of Gibney Jr., but...
That is...
Yeah.
That's
I think
rough. She's trying so hard. She's up there in the top 5. She's trying not to fall backwards, but like you can tell that's just overdriving it there. Just
absolutely,
trying, just being elbows out way too early in a race. Like,
well, it looked like she was uncomfortable in that situation. I think she was up there with the faster drivers. She had people on every side of her. She's very clearly struggling with the handling of that machine. So it's definitely one of those situations that's inexperience with the car, inexperience with the people you're racing around. She is a rookie for what it's worth. So we've obviously seen her have success last week at Michigan. She did a fantastic job there running around cars, but struggling with that right rear. And once you have that damage, there could have been damage as well from the contact from Swatsworth. It's hard to say, but she's not made a pit stop. So I think she's just carrying on. But they're coming to the choose cone now. That's why they're all wiggling all over the racetrack. But we'll see what happens here. I'm surprised that she's not pit.
Henderson's going to gain spots here. He just moved to the front of the top lane. Obviously, with Swatsworth being demoted, he got voluntold to move out of the top 10. Made his way back in the top 10 thanks to the choose cone. So Swatsworth outside row 5. But Henderson will go to the outside front row ahead of, I believe that's Matt Smith, who was in that first caution. So he's recovered enough to try to scavenge some points here in stage 1. Again, top 10 score points in stage 1, which ends in coming to 6 laps.
And update, Caitlin Height, who was at the very tail end of the field, now up to 24th. Wes Fuller, who's been pretty much every direction except forward so far, unfortunately. Only 4 positions off where he qualified. He's back to 20th. So making good gains, the two of them. Dalton Hayes is back up to 26th. Gonzalez back to 27th. So some of the faster drivers still prevailing here before it's all said and done. Remember, we've only had a couple of green flag laps. So...
Absolutely. Dustin Hall, Blake Henderson will lead us to the green flag once again. Our third restart of the race. We're underway once again here at Kansas. Some were wanting a boring race. You're not going to get it tonight. It is Kansas after all. Another good restart from Hall.
Yeah, Hall's in the best position to be out in front while all the craziness happens behind him. Everybody's scrambling to try and get positions and try and avoid the calamity. A lot less cars in contention here, but we also have a lot of fast race cars at the back of the field. So, you know, do with that what you will. As they make their way back up through the field, those that were set back, but at the front, it's still Hall, Howell, Henderson, Gaiman, and Smith. So, as you mentioned before, I think Smith, the biggest surprise of that lot.
Absolutely. Matt Smith just trying to hold on for these next 5 laps. 5 to go in stage 1. Henderson trying to hold on to whatever positions he can. He's not been up front very often so far outside of speed weeks. Looking to kind of change that tide, going against one of the fastest drivers in the field in Josh Gaiman there for 3rd place.
Howell getting a good run here on the back of Dustin Hall, taking a peek to that inside lane in front of these two. So the battle for the lead starting to heat up a bit. Again, 25 is the end of the first stage. We've run most of it under caution, so mostly everybody on fresh tires still. Howell right tucked up behind the back of the 3. It looks like they can, there's still some aero push, but it looks like they can follow quite a bit better than they could in years past.
Yeah, they've done a really good job trying to refine this car at the 1.5 miles, and that has been very evident with just how this car handles now compared to what it was when this car first unveiled itself. Well, it feels like aeons ago. Hall went up high, Howell went down low. You're going to see that a lot, especially once you get into the later stages where the stages get longer. It's all about picking that clean air, picking your lanes, and trying to just deal with what you're dealt, and it's a lot easier to do up front.
Yeah, don't count Gaiman out either. He's sneaking into the picture. We saw somebody tag the wall back there. I think that might have been Santiago. I'm not sure. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Santiago and Clavitt back up into the top spots now as they're in the top 10 again as well. Swatsworth, who had a ride through the grass, he's there on the middle of your screen, actually splitting all 3 of the drivers we were talking about, 3 wide for position.
And they're about to go 3 wide
move
behind.
By Meredith behind.
Yeah, it's Meredith, Poznansky, and Pelletier Sharp. 3 by 2,
Oh,
and that's
and
not going to work. Santiago got hip checked there a little bit.
Good job hanging on to it, though.
White flag in stage 1.
Yeah, battle at the front really heating up right now. Howell, there's a lot of anger on the radio at the moment, but look at Gaiman sneaking up right behind these 2 boys. But Howell's going to try to get on that corner panel of the 3, just can't quite get there. Might send a big send here on this last lap. Tries to go in there, but he's not going to punt the 3. Good defense by Hall. I think he's going to hang on, but watch for Gaiman to get this run off the top. Coming to the line.
Hall's going to hold on to it.
Yep, they all stay 1, 2, 3, but a great little scrap there as the caution now comes out to end the stage.
Stage points for Hall, Howell, and Gaiman, top 3, all the way down to the top 10. Meredith getting the last stage point. They are into 39.
Yeah, that's what they were fighting over there at the tail end. Pelletier Sharp got shuffled out of the points there, so I believe there is some damage to that 19 machine. Meredith up into 10th is just a bit of a shock to me from all the things that have happened, and great job there. They're saying great job to each other. They were really impressed with each other on that battle. It was a really good fight.
I wonder if it's not damage Pelletier Sharp. I wonder if it's tire wear, because she was fighting that car so much. Again, something that I learned doing the APAC challenge with these drivers, that tire conservation means so much. Obviously, 25 laps, you can kind of throw that out the window if you made an early pit stop. Pelletier Sharp has not made a pit stop, so she had to go 25 laps on the same set of tires. I wonder if that tire conservation is something she still hasn't put together yet, because she didn't need to at Michigan. She never had that ability to really kind of go out and sit and learn. I wonder if this is kind of one of those experiences for her where maybe it's not so much damage, but tire wear with her getting as loose as she has been and her traveling across the track.
It definitely could be. I'm sure she's also probably a little bit spooked. She's still on the radio apologizing to the 31 of Gibney Jr. for the mistake, so I'm sure she's probably honestly in her head a little bit. After that, I think most drivers probably would be after something like that, but just about everybody comes into the pit lane. Poznanski elects to stay out, as does Gibney Jr., and it looks like might be a lapped car if Caleb Collins stays out as well. So Gibney Jr. and Poznanski saying to heck with this. I would like to get out of the mix.
Some latency issues, it looks like, as must be nice.
You know, I struggled for years, Carmen, you know this, but as they race off of pit lane, the 3 and the 95 side by side, but it's actually going to be Dylan McDonald who gets out of the pit lane before anyone else, who, by the way, because of those early cautions, has already served his drive-through penalty and is on the lead lap, so that bailed him out. He now runs third after that. Let's see the rest of the field as they shuffle out of the pit lane behind. Pick your favorite driver if you see them. The top 10 looks like Poznanski, Gibney, and McDonald. Then it's Hall, Howell, Gaiman, Henderson, Estep, Swansworth, and Clavitt. Quick thing to note, Caitlin Height back into the top 20 despite her struggles early on. Wes Fuller had an issue in the pit lane, or maybe was repairing some damage, was in and around the top 20 and has now fallen back to 29th. And there he is on your screen. So for those that are rooting for him, of course, I think we all kind of are. That car looks pretty clean. He's hanging in there. So the Titletown machine down but not out. And Absolutely. It looks like Poznanski is in the pit lane now, but Correct. McDonald and Gibney out on the track still. So Poznanski going off sequence just a touch, but Gibney committing in the 31. And as Ohe has pointed out, when he had the incident with Peltier Sharp, probably just changed tires about 3 or 4 laps ago. So why not take a opportunity to put that 31 car out front? We'll see what happens.
Alrighty, as we get ready for the choose, I believe at the end of going into this lap. Some conversation in the chat. Hire Olivia Hayward as pit reporter. We passed the idea around a couple times of having a pit reporter for certain events. I don't know if I ever relayed that, but like we had the conversation in a couple points about having a pit reporter.
All right, here's the choose rule. Gibney not, I think he chose the top lane, which honestly, nuts and bolts. I think Dylan McDonald just got screwed because he chose the top in reaction to Gibney, and then Gibney changed lanes. So, granted, he did it before the choose cone, so that's legal. I think it's just unfortunate. A couple drivers apparently might be getting sent to the back as well because of the rule. I know this is going to be super divisive. I'll just keep my mouth shut on my opinion about the choose cone rule, but it is...
Me and you have the same opinion about the choose cone, and it's been a hot button debate the entire season so far. But yeah, a lot of drivers, that has been one of the divisive topics among the paddock.
If I speak, I may be in trouble.
Well, here we go.
Yep, it's going to be Gibney and Hall side by side. Gaiman and McDonald. And you got Henderson and Howell behind them. Due to the choose rule, Wes Fuller has made it back to 21st. So he passed about 9 cars in the sequence there of the choose rule. As they come down to start-finish line into the Geico restart zone, we're back underway. And we're back under yellow as quickly as we got going again because we've got a crash. Car in the wall. It's Ryan Moutre in the 44. Oh, boy.
First time we've had a back-to-back caution like that.
Yeah, trying to very quickly get a look at what happened here, but... Moutre was quite far back. It's George Jewell behind. Oh, my goodness. Nobody hit Moutre. It was a 2-car crash. It was Jacob Shangle money shifting it. Watch the 50 car just in front. Watch here. It just drops it. Carmen, that's very similar to a crash we would see coming to the line in a champ car. Not really something we're used to seeing in a stock car like that. Just take a look. I mean, there's nothing you can do for Moutre, who, credit where credit's due, did an incredible job avoiding the 50. Watch here.
We saw this we've seen this before, and it's drivers trying to start in first gear is what this comes down to. Everyone tried starting in first gear, and that just doesn't work. You have to, like, especially if you're that far back, just start in second. Just get a rolling start in second. There's no reason to be in first. Like, not even, like, even if you look at the leaders, half the time they don't even start in first. Like,
yeah,
what are you doing starting in first that far back? And that's what that was. Like, you can hear it. Like, he 100% tried shifting from first to second and overspun it.
It's really unfortunate that that's the case too, because Shangle, of course, we remember, had that big wreck on practice. It was doing pretty well, keeping out of trouble, but unfortunately, that's a bit of an embarrassing one. But McDonald, Teal, Parkhurst, Rex, Chaffin, and Shangle all in the pit lane. Gibney Jr. still leads on the other end of the racetrack with Hall, Gaiman, Henderson, Howell, Swatsworth, Estep, Peltier, Sharp now back into the top 10 as a result, and Dean Clavitt and Zachary Meredith rounding out. Kalen Height up to 14th now, and you know, this is one of the reasons I don't like the choose rule. We've just had a caution. We didn't even get going, and now some drivers just gained 10, 5, 15 spots for no reason, and now we get to do it all over again. Just because of RNG? Question mark? Granted, it doesn't really matter because we've only had about 5 laps of green flag racing today, but very, very interesting. You be the judge on that one. No insult whatsoever, of course, to HTL. They're just implementing rules that NASCAR has, but...
Yeah, you think about...
We're not on a short track. Why are we doing it?
Well, like, you look at just all the trouble that it's caused so far these first few races. How much is it actually worth? And obviously, HTL's in a good spot because they have an actual race control that can actually oversee all that stuff, and it's still a mess.
It puts a lot of unnecessary effort on Sosi. It puts a lot of unnecessary confusion and calamity on these drivers. And in my opinion, it just looks stupid. But, you know, obviously no insult to these drivers. I just think I think the rule itself is, and no, again, I'm not throwing shade at these drivers. I've been in these situations. It's just as screwed up as in the car as it looks from the booth. But it's what happens when we start trying to put short track rules on speedways. But that all aside, they've done a well enough job at it. That, of course, isn't why we had the crash we just had, but there's repercussions and a ripple effect with that, as there always will be. We're coming to the green flag.
Yes, Gibney and Hall at the front of the field. Green flag back in the air, and away we go. It's Gibney, Hall, Henderson, Gaiman, top 4.
Side by side, many rows back. Nobody really trying to go 3 wide right this second, but of course they will probably find a way as they squiggle down the back straightaway. That's the only word I could really use to describe it.
Serpentine,
3 and 4.
serpentine.
Yeah, something like that. They look like they're getting loose still. Oh, car in the wall. Keeps it going straight, but it's Gutekunst. Brushed it out of 3 and 4. Does a good job keeping it in the wall, and does a good job everybody behind for getting out of the way. We stay green. No real harm there. Car doesn't even look too banged up, but I think what's happening is these guys are getting tight. Oh, big dive there from Howell. Great attempt there. This is 3 wide for second now. That's Gaiman in the middle and Hall on the top. You got Henderson just behind. They touch out of turn number 4. That's some really close racing between Howell and Gaiman. Gaiman, of course, was a big player at Michigan. He got spun from the lead, looking to rebound. He's been up front for most of the night here.
Looking at the track temperature, 74 degrees track temp. It is going to get colder and colder and colder, as Hayward was pointing out in the Twitch chat. It is.
And if you think we're a little annoyed in the booth, all kinds of frustration in the drivers channel right now. Lots of things we couldn't air on this stream for that matter. They are not happy.
Gibney Jr. his no incident point streak came to an end, but he's also leading his first laps this season. So interesting trade-off there as far as what you would like to see here. Gibney still ahead of Hall.
Something turning mistakes into opportunity.
Absolutely.
Though it wasn't really his mistake either, but...
No, it wasn't. Blake Henderson sitting in fourth place ahead of Blake Howell, who ended up losing a spot there, trying to go 3 wide with Gaiman and Hall.
Sorry, Peltier Sharp clipped the wall there out of turn number 4, so she's still... Her handling problems have only gotten worse on that UPS machine. Now going to get split 3 wide, it looks like, as the 29 tries to go on the top side. Gonzalez on the bottom. Plenty of room for the number 7 machine. The 29 squeaks by on the top. Peltier going to try to fight that one back on the outside. At least was having the battle with Gonzalez, but the 29 scoots right by in the meantime. And they all wiggle around. You can see them trying to maintain and work with what they've got. This is the battle for about 12th place. Peltier Sharp still fighting that 7 car. Matt Smith clear of this group, so Smith on the move in the number 29 on that very, very top lane. Now coming up to the back bumper of Matthew Boone in the 83. Caitlin Height inside the top 10 once again now as well, chasing down Estep and Clavitt.
Well,
and it's a bit of a gaggle.
Down by Boone. Boone's on the charge as well. Boone down 3 spots from where he started. Height down 6 from where she started.
Doing a great job to try and recover those lost positions. Again, Boone had more laps in practice than anybody, so he probably has the best understanding of how the car is handling on a race condition. So we'll see what happens there. Granted, the conditions were obviously a bit different for practice, but has a lot of experience with driving around other cars on the track this evening. So we watch those two battle out on your screen. Height on the outside lane, and the number 11 trying to pull just a little bit there on Boone, but Boone's going to fight back with that shorter distance around.
Gibney's falling backwards now.
As expected, though, for what it's worth. Hall and Gaiman go back to the lead then with Howell in the final spot on the podium. Gibney hanging in there. It paid off quite well, especially with that caution. He's got several laps led now, and that's pushed him further into the window with the rest of these guys. So I think overall, especially from where he was at, he's about where he was before he got wrecked by Peltier Sharp. So he's not even in that situation where he was at the very, very tail end after the incident. So all in all, I think a net gain for that 31.
Absolutely. Again, looking at Matthew Boone working the outside lane, trying to make some passes happen. Gets around Gibney, while Caitlin Height moves to the bottom of Gibney, trying to force a 3 wide. And will make it work. Matthew Boone got around Matt Smith in the exact same frame as well. So Boone, 2 cars, 1 stone to go up to 8th place.
Yeah, just keeping an eye on this 31. He's doing a good job of just being there. He's not really being a nuisance. He's doing the best he can with those worn tires. Remember, he pit before the stage break and stayed out during the stage break, so he's on much older rubber as he falls through the field. This is all pretty expected at this stage of the event. They're trying to get to lap 75 because that's when the next stage ends, so we're going to have probably another pit stop before we get there
will be
anyways.
green flag pit stops. If things stay as they are, there will be green flag pit stops.
You're kidding.
Yeah.
Looking at Meredith and Peltier Sharp going at it here on your screen.
Teammates for NFG Motorsports.
Yep, they've dispatched Gibney in the background there as well as he continues to fall back. So this is currently in 12th and 13th. That's what they're fighting over.
This is the smart thing for Peltier Sharp too. Just follow Meredith, kind of learn from your teammate here, because she was up ahead of Meredith for a while. Meredith got turned by Dalton Hayes when Hayes got loose in the first caution. So now that they've gotten together, sort of just sit behind your teammate and learn a little bit. Learn about when you need to let off, when you need to worry about trail braking, how much you need to really kind of turn in here, and make that work. Teamwork makes the dream work. I learned that in APAC Challenge, working with Kyle Taub, working with Katie. You learn a lot better when you can kind of bounce ideas off of your teammates, and that's what's going on right now. And so far, just the immediate, just being around a teammate and kind of just learning off of them, doing a really good job. She's gotten a lot more stable.
And you know, one of my favorite things about Kansas is I was looking at the battle for the lead between Hall, Gaiman, and Howell, and they went through turns 3 and 4 last time by, and they all three ran different lanes. It was Hall on the top, Gaiman in the middle, and Howell on the bottom. It looked like an old race at Daytona before the repave. I smile like a bit of a dork watching that kind of racing, but that just shows how much these guys can use of the racetrack now, and it's pretty great. But right now, Hall pulling just a little bit over Gaiman, but Gaiman not giving up. And once again there, you can see them at the top of your screen, all three running different lanes through turns 1 and 2. Gaiman scoots down to the bottom on the late exit here. And those are the 3 cars battling for the race lead and look to be some of the strongest players for the win tonight, at least at the present moment. And that's the battle for your top 7. You can see the gaps ebbing and flowing on the right-hand side.
Caitlin Height moving up to 7th place. Saw that. The battle with Boone still raging on there. With Gonzalez and E-Step still battling for the top 10 spots as well.
And the first thing today, for the first time today, finally a little bit of green flag running.
Yeah.
We haven't had a whole lot of it because of the stage break and the cautions themselves, but we're going to start seeing our first real instances of tire wear for the vast majority of the field. And that's good news for the 31 of Gibney Jr. because he's fallen to 28th. He's waiting for some tires to equalize right about now.
Absolutely. He got his bonus points there for leading a lap. Just kind of went for an equalize because he could undercut here and actually make out like a bandit a little bit.
Gaiman with a big attempt there in 1 and 2 to the bottom.
Made it stick too. Hall up top, Gaiman on the bottom. Howell's falling back a little bit. Gaiman took Howell's line away. And that's another thing. That's one thing I personally love more than just seeing drivers take different lines. Being able to like cherry pick a driver's line away from them. We see it a lot in champ car competition, especially at tracks like Homestead in Kansas, where you can kind of cherry pick the lines you want to take from drivers. Being able to just put that defensive block and force your air onto somebody and force them to adapt to you. A lot of give and take when you play that game, because as frustrating as it is being behind somebody, it is so rewarding when you finally like muscle your way through.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a bit of the chess at 180 miles an hour that we love to have in motorsports. It's not always such a straightforward thing. You outsmart your opponents, you outplay your opponents, and that's part of what makes it so fun. But there's an extent and there's a limit, of course, and these cars seem to hit a pretty good balance. It's Caitlin Height continuing to be on the move in that number 11 machine as she punches her way back into the top 5 for the first time since she was turned backwards in the beginning of this race. Oh, by the way, the person that did it to her, next car ahead of her.
Yeah, between Height and Clavitt behind her, Swadsworth in front, and there's the gap. Howell still sitting in 3rd, so Caitlin Height moving her way forward. Last lap across the line, 32.45 for Caitlin Height compared to the 32.6 for Dustin Hall. She is faster than the leaders.
Yeah, and let's not forget, by the way, that the driver right in front of Swadsworth had his own little adventure down the front straightaway. So both of these two on your screen had a coming together with each other, but also have had their own separate little incidents happen. So they're now catching up to Blake Howell, who is running out of tire, and we hear the first couple cars radioing in, pitting in. So we'll be seeing some green flag pit stops here and not too much longer. Alfred Denny, the first one to blink, along with Poznanski and Gibney.
Yeah, this is safely in the window to make it to the end of stage 2.
I think Height saved her stuff a bit because she seems like she can just muscle around all of these guys a lot faster right now. So that's something that she is very often known for doing. She's very good at saving tires. She was already at the back for quite a while, was slowly making her way up as we see Gaiman into the pit lane now in the 61 machine. So the first of the front of the field to blink. So that's going to put Katie up to 2nd provisionally, fighting for 3rd overall here with Blake Howell, but running that top lane in the number 11. You want to say maybe the Vanta Black is making it a bit better to cut through the air, but I think it's just tire saving right now.
Absolutely. She's one of the best when it comes to saving tire, and that's what we saw at Michigan. Her and Dustin Hall, when they were able to kind of break away and save tires, they were two of the best at it.
And Hall is in the pit lane now, so that will hand the lead to Height, who will get a point now for leading a lap. So that'll help her in her championship fight, though, of course, she's locked in already with a win last week at Michigan, but everything helps.
Absolutely. You start talking about bonus points for stage or for race wins at that particular point in time. Make your round of, I think it's a round of 12 easier.
Indeed. So I'm keeping my eye here on Hall to see where he comes out. He should be out behind Gaiman, who pit a lap earlier. That is going to be a pretty big advantage on the undercut. Gaiman screaming out of turn number 4 right now. Dustin Hall just leaving the box, but Gaiman is going to be pretty well clear by a lot over Dustin Hall. So that'll give the lead to Joshua Gaiman after this all cycles around. Katie Height on the radio saying she's pitting. Gonzalez is coming into pit as well. So we've been seeing a lot of the back half of the field splitting down into the pit lane in the last few laps as well. It's going to hand it off to Chad Swatsworth, though. He's going to now get a bonus point for leading.
Bonus point for leading a lap. Cody
caution.
Giles. Ooh, and that's a free stop for Caitlin Height.
Yeah, she's in the pit lane. It's a free stop for Height, E-Step Henderson, Gonzalez, Jewel, Parker. So this is a absolute field day for these guys. They have all got into the pit lane here, and I believe every single one of them are going to get a free move here. I think the reason for the caution was Bryce Borer all by himself.
So Caitlin ended up not pitting. So that's going to be interesting. Didn't want to risk going a lap down. Smart move, because Swatsworth was not. Swatsworth knew that he had the ability to pin a lot of drivers a lap down.
Well, here's a look at it. It's the number 1 of Bryce Borer coming out of pit lane for Tribe Motorsports. Getting up through the gears. Hits the bump on the apron where the road course is and loses it in a very dangerous position. Definitely cause for a caution to come out. His night's going to go from bad to worse to terrible, and that was McBride, who nearly arrived on the scene a little too early. But Borer is going to get it going again, but that unfortunately is the reason why we're under yellow again. And that's going to set us up for a sprint to the end of the stage as we see the rest of the leaders come into pit lane now.
You see how bump that Borer hit. There's a roval course to Kansas here, and that bump kind of leads the transition into that infield road course.
Yeah, you have to be ready for it, and
absolutely.
especially with these tires, these wider 18 or 19 inch tires. There's not a lot of sidewall there, so there's not a lot of skew that you can put into it. Pretty much one of the biggest gripes about this car, honestly, because once it got sideways, there was really no getting that one back.
Yeah, so for those wondering, we can't see all the cars on track just because of the proximity level limits that I've got so far. But Katie is still lead lap, 1 of 12 on lead lap, so she'll be all right. It just, we can't see where everyone's at. We can't see all 36 cars. There's Swatsworth, there's Giles, Pelletier Sharp comes out third. Maybe Gudekunst got ahead of her on that one. But Pelletier Sharp, either way, back in the top 5. There's Spencer Teal, who was wrong way around within the first 10 laps of this race. Tyler Rex in 6th. Then you got Josh Gaiman, Matt Smith, Angel Santiago, Dylan McDonald, Bryce Borer still lingering around. Caitlin Height just now coming out of pit lane. She'll be in the 11th spot.
This is actually very interesting because this is Swatsworth, Giles, Gudekunst, Sharp, Teal, Rex, Gaiman. This actually ended up benefiting the drivers who stayed out because of how short this track is. Most of the field that had pit already is going to get a wave by. So they'll be back on the lead lap, but they have all been set back by having green flag pit stops early. That's the risk you run, I believe, in Champ Car. They call it the danger zone. But yeah, they're going to be in the race still. They're going to have a little bit of distance to make up, though. So it does give us this interesting scenario where we have a lot of cars that maybe aren't the fastest overall up at the front of the field. So they'll have, I believe, the choose cone this time around. And that'll set us up with about 14, 13 laps to go once we get going until the end of the stage.
Believe so.
And that'll carry us out to getting close to halfway. Or it will take us to the halfway point. So and just a reminder from race control, all drivers that have the wave by are going to be restarting on the bottom lane. So what that effectively is going to do is give us almost a single file restart after the first 10 rows. So about the first 5 rows, rather.
Single file restarts. This isn't Champ Car.
No, it's not, but it's got the caution frequency of it. We're running our 6th caution so far, which is about a caution every 10 laps at this rate. Granted, one of those was for a stage break, so credit there. And then the most recent one was, or the last couple of crashes have been single car or 2 or 3 car crashes, but we had 2 big ones to start things off today. But it seems like things have calmed down a little bit. We've had a little bit of green flag racing to balance things out. And we'll see how these drivers can fare as the faster ones who have pit make their way back up through the field. And the start has been delayed.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Not sure why that is.
Shangle is multiple laps down. He is working lap 57. The rest of the field's working lap 61 right now. So that's the answer there for the number 50 machine after bringing out one of the cautions not too long ago. And it looks like you can see in the back why we're under caution. I think a lot of position issues. So it sounds like a lot of confusion down in the voice call. Too much for me to really understand what exactly is the reason for the delay, but looking at those cars swapping positions, that would be my guess. So that'll knock a couple more laps off of the stage, make things a little bit more intense. These drivers going to reach up and grab the belts one more time. And we'll see what happens. So we should be going green this time around. Going to be a lot of single file cars in the back here. It's going to be double file for the first 6 rows. Then single file all the way back. So from 12th on back, single file for lead and lapped cars.
Swatsworth, Giles, Pelletier, Sharp, Goodicon, Smith, Teal, Chaffin, Rex, Mutre, and Santiago top 10. Height and McDonald round out row 6. And then a single file the rest of the way through.
Yep, here
Green
we go.
Flag back in the air.
Another great start by Swatsworth here. It's a little bit better for Shad when he's the one. Oh, we got a caution out again.
Caution behind, and it looks like it is going to be Donaldson, maybe.
Collins is around in the infield. Lots of frustration on the radio here. It appears that they went and stopped, and McBride found his way in the back of Collins. And
it looks like Twitch chat's calling a lane change at the back of the field.
Well, no, that's incorrect. There is a lane change to avoid an incident. Gibney Jr. jumps to the top lane because he was avoiding an incident. So if he gets called for that, that's a bit ridiculous. You'll see here, he's the first one to jump out of line. They all Constantine are up. And whoever was talking about a lane change on the 31, I really don't know what you want him to do there. Other than plow into the back of the 72, I guess, which is what McBride did. But
yeah, that's
not really anything they can do about that. It's just guys not paying attention.
Unfortunately, that's not the first time that's been an issue or a perceived issue in HTL. But yeah, there's live pictures of Swatsworth leading us under caution for the 7th time, back-to-back cautions for the 2nd time tonight. We didn't have back-to-back cautions for the first 2 races of the season. The cautions have bred cautions twice tonight.
Yeah. There goes, I think that was George Jewell getting a lap back.
Correct, it was.
That'll give us, looks like 31 on the lead lap now. Should be.
Something like that, yeah.
And we've got all kinds of frustration in the radio still, actually.
Yeah, you think
Tempers
about
are
this,
flaring.
You think about like the frustrations we see here. It's not surprising how frustrating it is, because you look at, like, we have a 36 car field, and all 36 cars, obviously they have a fast repair, they're able to kind of bail themselves out, get back on track. Obviously 31 cars still in the lead lap, so everyone's still fighting for something. And then you have the checkups and all that stuff. I 100% get the frustration here, but what do you do to fix it?
You know, I mean, there's not a whole lot you can do.
It's not the same. It's not like it's the same drivers, right? It's not like you can pick out a problem child tonight and say, like, yeah, you've been involved in like every accident, right? That's not the case. McBride, the first time he's been involved in an accident all night, and he's done a really good job avoiding most of them because he's been back there near all of them. First time he's been involved in one, Caleb Collins, he's been collected in them. He's just been a bystander.
Well, and these drivers don't suck either. It's not a matter of just
a lot of talent here.
There's a lot of 3Ks. There's a lot of high 2s. There's quite a few 4s as far as I rating that is. So it really is no excuse as far as that is. It just seems to be that too many cars on track and maybe not quite enough room being given to each other. But it also doesn't help when the last 3 or 4 races we've had have all been either plate races or multi-lane tracks. So it makes, with good racing comes a lot more opportunities for screw-ups, and we're unfortunately suffering that part of the trade-off right now. But we did see some good racing earlier on, and we're probably going to see some more if we can go green, but that's just the problem. We need to get everybody spread out and have a little bit more give and a little less take. But as the clock ticks further into the night, frustrations rise, and we get closer and closer to the end of the stage, the end of the race. I just don't think that one's a realistic one to ask of these drivers. Race car drivers, real or virtual, are the most selfish people on the planet. They're not going to want to be giving each other much more room. And when we had a couple big crashes right off the bat, it really set the tone for this one, I'm afraid.
Yeah, you think about, and it's especially telling, you know, as we say, you were watching the field as they come to the 2 wide, or come to the green flag for this the restart here. Like, you look at the driver, you look at the drivers in the front row, Swaps for the Peltier Sharp. Like, that is not something we thought we were going to say this quickly. Peltier Sharp has been in sort of the crosshairs a little bit. Swatsworth has been in the grass. He's been charging his way forward. Cody Giles, he's been silently working his way forward. John Kudekunst also just been silently efficient.
Yep.
It's been a mixed bag.
Yeah, I think the best will eventually rise to that if they don't get wiped out. But yeah, it is interesting that you noted that, because the last time that these two were side by side, the 4 was set through the grass. So, and we've wrecked again immediately. So we've got about a 3 or 4 car crash. I wondered why the lag
was happening. It's all a telemetry issue on my end, but this one's a little bit larger of an incident here. And
well, they start checking on the top here, and they run into each other, and I think that sends Hayes down into the bottom lane, who gets into Denny. Hall gets hit by the 95. Gutekunst, or excuse me, not Gutekunst, Poznanski gets barely through, but then gets checked from the back, and then there's Clavitt, who gets turned by Hayes.
Is that Santiago?
Nowhere to go. Yeah,
No, that's not Santiago. That is Chaffin.
Yeah, Chaffin, and I think way at the very back there is Hayes. So Jules involved.
He just got his lap back.
Yeah, it's hard to find the words for what's going on here, but here you can see it here. Not her fault, But Pelletier Sharp doesn't get a very good start, and it looks like neither does that third car in lane. I can't tell who that is. I'm sorry. I think
that is the 42 of Teal.
I think it is, yeah. And then it just Constantiner's all back. It's the exact same thing we just saw, just at the front of the field this time and from the top lane. So it just takes the whole field out with it, and then you got everybody pushing, and nobody really wants to slow down. Granted, they're trying back here, but yeah. This is the result, unfortunately. So it's Swatsworth Giles. Giles has now moved his way up into second. I haven't really talked about him for a minute. Pelletier Sharp, Santiago, Gutekunst, and Height up to sixth. These guys really haven't been making any moves on the track. They've kind of just getting the RNG from the choose lane, but either way, that's where we got them. That's where they're at right now, so we'll see what happens. Worth noting, Cody Giles up 27 positions, as is Santiago, so they're having a hell of a lot of gains for each other there, second and fourth respectively. Yeah, we are coming to what will be a 3 to go or a green-white checkered for the stage, because we need stages now, and we have to.
Let's not talk about green-white checkered for stages. No.
We're getting to that point. I have a feeling we're not going to see the checkered flag of the stage without a yellow flag beside it, but that is unfortunately how the format is. Well, it is what it is.
There's some things that it is what it is can be used for. This race shouldn't be one of them. Swatsworth and Giles will be leading this field to green, maybe, for coming to the choose cone this lap, I believe. Pelletier Sharp third, Santiago fourth, Gutekunst fifth, Height sixth. Again, this is all coming to the choose cone. Oh, hey, hinging her bathroom break on getting to the end of stage 2. That was mistake numero uno.
Yeah, you should know better. We got Katie, who's rolling around in the car in sixth, talking in the chat right now.
Brad,
that tells you the kind of race we're having. If it makes it feel any better, the drivers are no less impressed with each other. I think they're all very upset about the situation. It's hard to not be upset about the situation. I'm sure just about everybody's had about enough. But for those that are sticking around and sticking with us, thanks for watching. The product on track tonight has not been great, but the message is still very...
They're single file for this restart.
They are. Good. I'm serious. I've had enough of the choose code. I've had enough of that. Can't. I don't disagree with this call.
I don't know if this is on Giles or if this is something done through iRacing officiating. Pelletier Sharp seems to be a bit confused. Obviously, she's kind of new to the whole stock car thing. Everything champ car related has always been single file restarts. So she's going through the paces here. But it's Swatsworth, Giles, Pelletier Sharp, Santiago, Gutekunst, Height, Henderson, Gonzalez, Teal, Rex top 10. And it looks like, yeah, it's going to be a single file restart.
Well, even if we do go green, we're going to get another caution here in just a moment's time, because the stage ends at the end of 75. So stage ends after the next flag ends the stage, whether it's the green and checkered or the caution. So let's see. Pelletier Sharp does not get away well. It's going to stack up a little bit. I think she spun the tires. Frustration up and down the pit wall as they try to go. They're going 3 wide in the back into turn 1. That's very brave, but they've all made it. And it looks like we've got a corner completed. And we'll come down the back straightaway and see what happens now. It's Wadsworth, Giles, Peltier, Sharp, Height, and Santiago, the top 5.
Here's a good look at the camera angles. They all come out of 4.
Height now up into the podium places. She's completing a pass there on Pelletier Sharp to get into 3rd. They're both on set to have some pretty solid stage points this time around. Santiago as well. John Gutekunst moved into the top 10 with Spencer Teal and Gonzalez. And Tyler Rex rounds out the final spot for the moment. They're coming to the white flag in the stage.
Wadsworth trying to get a stage win. Giles going to try to take it away from him. Height 3rd, then the battle for 4th heating up between Pelletier Sharp and Santiago. Santiago's at the outside lane, Pelletier Sharp on the bottom.
Yeah, I think Swatsworth has got it. Giles is just a touch too far back. I think it's more going to be a matter. I think they're just. We saw this in the end of the first stage. I think with the gaps here, it's just going to be 1, 2, 3. But Height might have a look at Giles. Coming out of turn number 4, he's going to have a good run. Swatsworth went to the bottom. It's going to open the door a bit, but they're still going to stay as they were on the end of stage 1. It's going to be 1, 2, 3, finishing 1, 2, 3, but they did get awfully close.
Absolutely. Swatsworth, Giles, Height, Santiago, Pelletier Sharp holding on for stage points. Henderson, more stage points for him. Gutekunst 7th, Teal 8th. Gonzalez and Rex hold on to their top 10.
Well done.
Let's hold off on the well dones. It's not well done, Baku.
Well, no, well done to the top 10 for getting points, but definitely from drivers like Rex or granted, most of these, I mean, tip of the hat to Pelletier Sharp putting it up in the top 5, hanging on there despite everything that's happened to her today. Some of these guys and gals got lucky on the pit cycle, but they did a nice job of maintaining it, at least for the 23,000 feet that we did have under green. And they now find the pace car, and we'll try and see if we can do that one again and hopefully have it go for a while. But Swatsworth with the stage dub, not going to be too bad for the number 4 team. They're going to be, I think, pretty satisfied with that. Pit lane will be open. I'm curious to see how many people decide to come in. Looks like almost everybody. I'm a little surprised, honestly. I wouldn't be shocked if we see a couple fuel only stops.
I see people being optimistic as Gibney stays out again. Again, why not? Gibney and Pezdansky again. And Clavitt.
Yeah, I think that's probably the smart play for those guys. You know, the situation here is if we keep getting caution after caution after caution, we get into the eventuality that if we run enough behind the yellow, the strategy gets to go out the window. So if you put yourself on an alternate strategy and then we keep having yellows, the fuel won't be a problem and neither will the tires. And then you'll get that situation where you have the potential to really make big gains. And that's what we kind of saw already. Pelletier Sharp has slid the box and is not very happy about it on the radio, so that's why she's going to drop several positions now. But it's Swatsworth, Gaiman, and Height out of the pit lane. Did Gaiman take 2?
No, he took fuel only.
Yeah, I think that's probably, I wouldn't be surprised at that. I think that's probably a smart move. I mean, you got to look at it the way that it was when the caution comes out, as it did. We had maybe, oh, God forbid, I think the only green flag laps we had since the caution came out on those drivers was in the middle of the green flag pit stops was maybe like 5 laps, if that. So you only got like 5 laps on your tires. Take fuel to get on the same sequence. It's not like you were pushing. I would feel bad wasting a set of tires personally.
Yeah, pretty much. Now, I think the ambition is hoping that the final stage is a lot cleaner as it was at Michigan. We will, I guess we'll wait to see. The verdict's going to be out on that one. When I say, like, green, we still didn't have green flag pit stops in Michigan.
Yeah. Well, we're done with the stage breaks, and I think they're going to continue to leave it single file on the restarts, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to set us up for a situation that if we see the pace car lights go out, that would set us up going green with about 53 laps to go. So we are past the halfway point, clearly. So yeah. Of course, you got to try to remember what this race is being named for, and the larger reason behind why we're here tonight, despite the rather difficult on-track product. But update on Wes Fuller on the lead lap, 25th currently. So long way to go still. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to figure it out here. Kevin Gibney's going to lead us to the green flag. I had Kevin Poznansky, Dean Clavitt, Chad Swatsworth, Josh Gaiman, Caitlin Height, Angel Santiago, Blake Henderson, Zach Meredith, Ricky Gonzalez, Spencer Teal. Tyler Rex rounds out the top 12. To answer the question, yeah, right now, at least looking at it, we are going to remain single file. It is on race control's discretion at this point. Oh, my
goodness. The caution's been delayed.
Yeah, Chaffin moved to pit lane. Jewel, Parkhurst, Donaldson all coming down pit lane.
What are we doing, guys?
So...
has Chaffin recently warped?
He did warp. According to my information, he did. Oh, he just came down.
Yeah, so I'm trying to...
yeah,
trying to find... I'm sorry, I'm rather stumped. I don't know what's happened, but...
I feel like it has something to do... George Jewell came down pit lane, as did Donaldson in Parkhurst, I believe. So I don't know if there was a checkup that sent people around.
Well, there was all kinds of screaming and yelling in the chat, so...
Let's see here.
Let's see, this is under yellow. They're coming down the back straightaway. I'm trying to find it.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be. Oh, my goodness. Yeah?
Yeah, so...
we're going to pivot over here real quick. So, play it back here. Again, we're about to go green, so but this is what happened.
Yeah, so 83 slows down, Peltier Sharp slows down, they all start to check up. And as it finds its way back, they've all started running each other over, so...
and that's why drivers had to come down pit lane.
Yeah.
But here we go. Green flag back in the air. Gibney, Poznansky, Clavitt, top 3.
They're wrecking again. 29 car around in the apron. We stay green for now, but the 3 cars involved. A couple more cars spun on the back.
And no caution yet.
There's 4 cars spun around. There it is. I'm just like you. I think that
you lose the words to say. Well, you know, we made the references to Champ Car, because the Champ Car race here was not the best. Very chaotic, pack racing affair. Tyler Rex still in. Actually, we're going to see what happened here, because
another checkup here. It's just people just aren't. Guys just aren't paying attention. It's not. Once or twice is one thing, but I'm sorry. The driver in me has to come out. I've held her back for too long. This is ridiculous. It's not that hard of a concept. You wait until the car in front of you goes, and then you put the pedal down. I don't know how hard it is. It's not that difficult.
It's great.
It's a shame that
you hit the nail on the head earlier.
It's a shame that we got 30 of the best drivers in the sim, basically, and they can't start a race. it's a little bit incredible to me. But
Reminds me of
I don't even know
Winston
who
a
to
lot.
blame that on. But it only starts with one knucklehead who tries to jump the start, which you're not supposed to do anyways, by the way, because we all threw a fit and had a party about lane
Michigan.
changing early. So now we get boxed into this corner where, what are we doing? You know, it's a shame because we've seen these guys and girls race. We know what they're capable of. We know they're talented. We have not seen any of that in the last hour and a half, and it's a shame that that's the case because they deserve a better race. You guys deserve a better product, and HTL deserves a better look than this because we've seen some incredible things from these guys, but I guess everybody took a vacation with their brain tonight.
It seems like nobody came back from vacation because it's been 2 weeks since Michigan. And everyone's wondering, okay, you know, you take the time to kind of sit back and just relax and discuss and get ready to move forward. And some drivers have taken that step forward. 100%. Like, some drivers have taken that step forward. You look at drivers like Dylan McDonald. We harped on him a lot the first 2 races. He's taken a significant step forward this race. But it's like other drivers have taken significant steps backwards. And, you know, the next week, like, this was a chance to have an easy race because next week is not going to be easy. Next week's Road America. Next week's going to be a very painful event. Like, you look at what's about to happen here, making sure that we're looking at the right stuff here. You know, looking at the schedule, you know, you've got Road America next week. You got Richmond after that. It does not get easier. And, you know, me and you, we've both been drivers. We've driven in this car. We've won races in this car. We've won races across the board. We've been in these positions where it's like, okay, what are we going to do? And I fear hearing what the drivers are saying. But I'm almost kind of curious of just kind of opening the air and kind of hearing what's going on because there has to be a level of restraint. And no one's showing up. We're in stage 3. And all the stage points that we've gotten so far have been determined by numerous wrecks. It's been Mickey Mouse points.
Yeah, and it didn't help when we were double file either because then with the choose cone, you got people jumping up 15 spots for nothing, and then you got guys who are fast. Obviously, it's one thing to be fast and be in the back because of strategy or because you get wrecked or whatever, but we haven't had a lap. We've had nothing but 2 laps of green flag racing, and God forbid we finally get 2 laps of green flag racing, and then the caution comes out because we have to throw arbitrary cautions and start awarding points halfway through the race. I feel like James Hunt, and I apologize for that, but this is just...
Don't apologize. Like, this is...
It's a shame. And I think they're going back. Oh my goodness, they're going back to double file. I think the reason behind this is the argument would probably be, well, when we're single file, it's a bigger line, therefore more crashing. But I really,
you know what?
I'd be scared. I'd be scared to be on the highway with some of these people.
I'm going to pull something from one of your idols here and say that we haven't wrecked half the cars yet, so this is a valid idea.
Yeah, I think it's better off if we take the inside, unless we're doing the choose cone to figure out who goes the right way and who goes the wrong way. No, that's where we go. I think if we split the field right down the middle, I think it'd be perfect. But you know, I think it'd be perfect if we just parked everybody in the pit lane and ran on foot. I think we'd have less wrecks that way. But,
I don't know. So one person trips and falls, but it's over. Oh, but Nancy and Clavitt lead this field to green. Technically teammates, but they're not. Poznansky in the 12 in the Chevrolet, Clavitt in the 2, the Ford. Poznansky unchartered, just kind of running, trying to keep points scored. Slotsworth and Gaiman, row 2. Height and Santiago, row 3. Pace car is going to come in, and we'll see how it goes here. The green flag's going to be in the air, and away we go.
God help them.
And the inside lane checked up again.
Yeah, they're still checking up in the back. We've got more collisions in the back, but they've at least kept it forward running this time. At least 3 or 4 cars at the very tail end of the bottom lane all ran into the back of each other, so we'll see what happens here. These tires are going to be so cold, I wouldn't be surprised if we see someone dump it down the back straight.
They are ice cold. Poznansky holding the middle lane. Gaiman, again, he took fuel only as well. But they're at the front with Clavitt. Height got ahead of Swatsworth. what seems like eons ago when you've run a lap under green.
Yeah, if you can believe it or not, there's a race taking place tonight. And
We got a
Jamin and
Macy's parade in the
Poznanski.
race.
Yeah, they're fighting hard for the lead here. It's Poznanski and Gaiman. Gaiman here on this bottom of the lane, restarted in 5th, I believe, although I don't really know with all the checkups and stuff. He came out of the pit lane, was going to restart 5th, now
really
fighting for the
close
lead.
racing there.
Door to
Clavitt.
door there. Dean Clavitt taking advantage, and Caitlin Height probably going to throw her down on the apron. No, going to tuck in right behind that 61 machine and try to keep pushing here. So 4 cars fighting for the lead up front.
It's still 2 by 2, multiple rows down the order. Poznanski holding on to that race lead for all it's worth right now. Gaiman holding on to 2nd place as we look at Caitlin Height there in 4th. Zach Meredith. Speak of the devil, this dude is making more. This dude across the first races has made the most passes of anybody. He has to have. All the way back up to 5th. As Gaiman will finally lead a lap here in what felt like forever. But between being stuck behind Swatsworth, being stuck behind Hall, getting the EOL, got a lap led, but still not clear and over with. Poznanski has the advantage early on at the moment. Meredith makes it 3 wide with Height and Clavitt.
Yeah, Clavitt gave a push to Poznanski going into 3 and 4, so a little bit of tandem draft on the top, and now they're going to get side by side again. Gaiman not quite giving it up on the bottom. It's a whole pack behind them, so they're going to have to keep looking after those tires. They're still touching as they come across the line here. We're still on lap 91. I think these boys have been waiting to race, and they finally get the opportunity to do so here. Gaiman getting a little bit loose on the bottom. Dean Clavitt getting a little bit of that nose, sniffing the top lane. They touch again.
Meredith's going to go 3 wide.
Yeah, they killed the momentum.
4.
Yeah, this isn't going to work.
No, it's not. It's going to get ugly before it gets pretty.
And there it is.
There's Gaiman.
Gaiman around. He's going to. Well, he's working on it. He's still working on it. He's gone around, and now there's more cars going with him. That's going to be a come back into traffic. Look at. Whoa, my goodness. And that's not going over well with anybody.
And the sad part is, we knew it was coming.
Yeah, you did. I mean,
as soon as you pull, it's like pulling a cork out of a champagne bottle. The pressure's going to go somewhere. As soon as you relieve that pressure, only one way it goes.
Yeah, it's just one of those deals. I mean,
we're looking at the replay here, and
I think it was Gaiman that came back up into traffic too. I don't want to say anything. I don't want to say anything yet because I'm pretty sure he's out of control. But there are not many people happy with him for that one. We'll see what happens here. They're 3 wide. You could tell they were racing close. They were touching and slamming the whole way around. This was bound to happen eventually. He bounces off of Poznanski. Here comes Swatsworth. Swatsworth, it must be said, incredible heads up reaction there. He's done a brilliant job there to stay off of him. But you just don't get those back, and not in this car. Any other car probably get a chance to save it. No chance. I'm not sure if Peltier Sharp got hit or not. Wow, Gaiman nearly flips over there. The air gets up underneath the car.
And when you're in this situation,
put it back on the ground. Yeah,
there's nothing he can do.
Well, his foot's to the floor. You can see the marbles throwing off. That's where I think people are going to have issues. Comes right in front of Hayes. I mean, that's a huge hit. You can only put so much blame on Gaiman because, yes, he's out of control, but I think I don't know. Take a look at it in full speed. Maybe it gives us a little bit better context here. But I mean,
Meredith throws a 3 wide. He's on fresh tires, so he's got to go.
Well, watch here because it starts with a contact here. Watch. 12 comes down, 61 not giving much room. They touch here. That kills their momentum. This gives this is fair enough. Meredith has every right to do this. You see Clavitt trying to push. He almost goes 4. Now in the middle, Josh Gaiman in the middle, getting pinched on the top, pinched on the bottom, meat in the sandwich, almost hangs on to it. But this, watch here. Back on the ground now. It's not the stupidest thing in the world. I really don't think that they can be too harsh for him. But I think the argument is you can see he's trying to keep it straight. Because I think we'll go chopper cam here and just try to show you the whole ordeal. Because obviously anytime you come flying back into traffic like that, it's not great.
And you see here,
They're trying to put 3 cars into 2 lanes. Never going to work. 61 goes around. Gets airborne here, so he doesn't land till now. I don't know what Pelletier Sharp... I think she got turned. Oh,
that's
a
hard,
huge impact.
and not just for Hayes, but everyone on the outside of Hayes.
I mean, that's just...
And to answer the question, when you're put 3 wide like that, and you're in a close combat situation, you lose the air on the back of the car.
Well, I don't know if it's that. I don't know if he caught the seam or what. I almost think it looks like... Well, watch here. This car makes a change in direction. I think he might have got loose and just slides up into Poznanski here, but then everybody has to scatter. I'm trying to get an angle to where we can get
an idea of like what his angle was. I'm keeping an eye on the live track here to see when we get ready to go green.
Thank you, ma'am. We do have a helmet camera, so we'll take a peek at that and try and give you... I know you won't be able to hear it, but I will also listen here and see if he's pegged still in... Yeah, I think I don't think he got loose. I guess it just kind of... All right, now hold on. I'm listening now. Well, yeah, you see the revs go back up there a bit, but I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't look like he pegged it hard. I think he was just trying to hang on to it, and... I think in hindsight, obviously, the smartest decision there would be to lock the brakes and call it a day, but he gives it a little bit of gas. He's trying to hang on to it, and I think that's where people are going to be upset about it. But honestly, I don't really know. That's not the thing I'm the most mad about tonight, that's for sure.
We are at 1 to green. They are still doubling up here. Meredith leads over McDonald, Height, Swatsworth, Giles, Boone, top 6. And it has been one of them nights. We have surpassed the ABN Champ Car caution rate at this particular point in time. And that race was 100 laps. This is 133, and we've already gotten to 11.
Yeah, we've not hit the 100 lap mark yet, actually. Nope.
We're gonna be 4 to go to lap 100.
Yeah. And we've been...
Have they delayed the green again?
Yes, they have. I don't think there's been a wreck this time because nobody's screaming at each other, but
I feel like
I think it's more of a confusion.
Yeah. I wasn't paying attention. I don't know if they did the choose cone rule here.
I don't know. Nothing's surprising me at this point, so
we'll go one more lap. And I mean, you feel for the drivers. You feel for the drivers up front here. Like, you feel for Meredith, who finally gets things to go right, but it's in a race like this. He's not been able to actually race for it, and we know he's got the talent to race for it. We know McDonald's quick; he can do it. And he's putting the race together to do it. It's just a shame that other people aren't taking that prerogative. Caitlin Height, back to front of the field for her. Swatsworth, back to the front of the field to him. Henderson, he's been consistently up near the front of the field. I feel bad for him. You got Matthew Boone. He's not had he's probably just happy that he's still rolling. Giles Anderson, DJ Anderson, he's on par, possibly get his best points finish tonight. Like, there's still a lot. You look at like just the stat line, you look at the numbers, you know, like, hey, this could be like, some people should be happy about this race. I don't think anyone's gonna walk away happy. Like, we're gonna have 36 laps to go when we go green. Do you expect all of it to go green? I personally don't think so. No. Meredith's gonna try to lead us to green here. It's Meredith McDonald front row through the restart zone, green flag in the air, pulling the audio back up after seeing as how we're not looking at replay footage. But and Meredith got a really good jump, as did Caitlin Height. Height really got on those restarts, as always.
Yeah, they're getting a bit squiggly in the back here. It looks like Jacob Schenkel didn't get a great restart. He's been split in the middle 3 wide a bit further back. They're fighting over 15th or so.
Gets the bottom there, so they settled down a little bit. Poznanski trying to gain some spots again. Tags the wall, and then they go again. It's Santiago.
Poznanski as well.
Yeah.
And Honestly, I'm a little surprised there's no caution there, but they're going to let it go. No need for a replay on that. You just saw what happened.
I was gonna say, that is a doing it live situation as we saw it there.
It's just a shame. I get I don't want to have a caution either, but if we're going to be throwing cautions for a couple cars spinning in the grass on the restart, I feel like that probably should have been a yellow, but you know,
reminds me of
I don't know.
Reminds me of a call NSR. They had a call like that too.
You know, not to put any shade towards Sosi or the crew. They're obviously we need to put on a show. We need to pack up and get out of here at some point. So it's just a shame for those two that's the way it went. They both kept it going in the right direction, but I'm pretty sure out of frustration for the lack of yellow, I don't know who it was. I think one of them are retiring the car now.
Would not be surprised if it is
well, they're both rolling for now, and they're both on the... Well, Santiago's only... I think Santiago's barely on the lead lap here, so I guess they both have kept going, but I think it was maybe frustration then that was the call. But the first one that's going to go a lap down here is Angel Santiago, and I don't imagine he's going to play too nicely with the leaders here.
No, I don't blame him. Yeah. Meredith looking for his first win. McDonald looking for his second win, putting our focus back on the front of the field. Caitlin Height in third place looking for another win in HTL competition. Same with Shad Swatsworth. So, some power punching here at the front. Blake Howell, we talked about him a lot early on, and then he went silent with all the chaos that ensued. He's back up in the top 5, dealing with a satellite team here at Titletown and Rage Motorsports. The satellite teams with each other. And right now, Blake Howell trying to make his way back into the podium spots. He's sitting 5th ahead of Blake Henderson. Henderson battling with Boone, with Giles, Hall, and Gibney rounding up the top 10. As they try to get through, it's going to be 30 laps to go when we cross the line here.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to tell if they can even go the full distance here without another pit stop, because it's hard. I mean, they burn so much fuel typically, but we've had so many caution laps, it's hard to tell who's been saving, who hasn't. And I think we still are going to have at least one more pit stop for the field here.
Confirming that Dalton Hayes is out of this race. He was involved in that incident with Josh Gaiman.
Yeah, it was a huge impact. I wouldn't be surprised if that, because he was already involved in an incident earlier today. I'm not shocked if that's the fork in the turkey for him, but
Gaiman's still rolling, I believe.
Yeah, Gaiman's still trundling around in P22 right now. I think I saw the smoke coming out of the helmet the last time around. He's infuriated on the radio, and as he's been very animated on the radio for most of the night, so that was the icing on the cake.
McDonald trying to get to Meredith here. It's a giant battle right now, because there's Caitlin Height, there's Swatsworth, and Howell. Like, you put the top 5 under a blanket minus Meredith. Meredith's loving this, because the more they side draft this, McDonald's in the wall. They're going to try to go 3 wide around him. Caitlin Height moves up to 2nd. McDonald holds on to 3rd. But for how long can he do that? He lost a lot of momentum.
Well, Height's got the clean air now. I imagine she's going to probably pull away for a bit. McDonald probably doesn't have any damage on that car, but it's going to be a bit of a lack of the track position. Not going to have the lane that he wants, although probably just going to pick whatever lane Height doesn't here. We're going to keep an eye. It looks like Height's already reeling in Meredith a bit, but McDonald clips the wall again.
Yeah, right now we're looking at McDonald as he begins to slide down a little bit, just trying to hold it together for the remaining 27 laps in this race. Meredith leads. Meredith and Height shared the podium at Michigan 2 weeks ago. Meredith trying to do one better. Caitlin Height trying to go back-to-back for the first time.
Yeah, Height's gaining at an incredible rate of speed here. I'm a little surprised at that.
Keep an eye on Dustin Hall, too. He's made his way back into the top 5, and he was another one who was charging hard at Michigan.
Yeah, and he, of course, is the pole sitter as well. He's been just buried in the back because he got off sequence on the pit cycle, and then we had 28 cautions in between, so it's easy to lose track of where these guys were, but he's been up front all day long. Dean Clavitt, a perennial threat as well, so we can't really ignore that. And into the pit lane there, that was Meredith that decides to pit, so that hands the lead off to Caitlin Height.
And this is interesting because that's at the very edge of the window.
Yeah, but Howell's in as well with Fuller, Gaiman, and Shangle. Those guys towards the bottom of the list, not really had anything to lose with the undercut here. But yeah, you're right. A little interesting to see them come in this early. But Meredith, I think, might have burned up his stuff getting to the lead and running away there. So makes sense to see him pit early. He's going to get the undercut and try to protect those tires for as long as he can. The 3 cars pitting now as well, so he peels off in the back. Most of the rest of the top 10 stays out. Hall, the only one to box that time around.
Remember, last time we had green flag pit stops, a caution interrupted it for Bryce Boer.
Yeah, he had a single car spin.
Boer, whose race ended, he's classified with a 35th place finish.
Yeah, but that's the rescue run, but we also saw how powerful the undercut has been. So we'll see what happens. 24 laps to go. I think, honestly, you wait 5 more laps, you're probably in the clear. You want to be able to get the most out of those tires. Yeah. Because obviously, if you get a caution at the end of the race, you're gonna pit no matter what. But yeah. Scooting up the hill there, I think that was McDonald on Clavitt. Clavitt clears on the top. Clavitt, no stranger to sending it around the outside, making big moves happen. Keep an eye on that red number 2 car if we get towards the end, or green-white checkered. He's done a big move like that at Daytona, and he's pulled one off at Michigan as well. Doesn't always work out for him, but the Canadian is fearless. So they come out of turn number 4. Height clear by a second and some change over Swatsworth. It's back business as usual. That's how they were running a little earlier in the race. Not necessarily first and second, but nose to tail. And you can see an army of teal cars behind.
Yeah, these cars have come to play. The Titletown and the Rage Motorsports machines beginning to crowd the top 10. You got Swatsworth, Goodicunts, Gonzalez, McDonald's, Collins, and then Matthew Boone also in 9th place.
Height's in the pit lane, as is the number 4 now of Swatsworth. So they come in, as does Matthew Boone. And at least we get one silver lining out of tonight, which is that the tribute cars paying respects to Wendy are doing quite well right now towards the front of the field. So if you're looking for a good storyline to cling to, at least you got that going on right now. Goodicun's doing a great job right now with Gonzalez, McDonald's, Collins in tow. Clavitt leads. And I think the 07 of George Jewell has run out of gas. That's who we saw slow on the apron there.
Anderson comes in, I believe. No, he has not. Never mind. I'm mistaken on there.
Henderson has come into the pit lane by himself.
Okay. So that was correct. So the rest coming out of pit lane. You saw that car, the 84, on the bottom lane. And it's going to be in the way of Goodicunts here for just a moment. Clavitt's going to lose the lead. Goodicunts using Tyler Rex as a bit of a pick, drafting out of turn 4. Goodicunts leads this lap as more cars come in. McDonald, Giles, and Woodard.
They'll add to that list. Meanwhile, the race behind them for basically who's going to try to be the eventual leader. I'm not really sure who's winning that one right now, but I can say that Wes Fuller has gained some positions here on this cycle. He's split Swatsworth and Height, so pit with that group. So Wes Fuller could be on for a really good go of it here if it stays green to the end. They're currently running at around the mid-20s. DJ Anderson in the pit lane now as well for good measure. Giles, McDonald, and Woodard about to get swallowed up by the leaders. Meredith leading Hall and Howell at the moment. I think it's actually Santiago and Gaiman that are the overall leaders in this group. So the 90 of Santiago, the 61 of Gaiman are the big winners at the moment, I do believe. This time around, nobody else joins the pit lane. Goodicunts, Clavitt, Gonzalez, Collins, Parker, Denny, Sharp, Estep, Smith, Donaldson, Teal, Gibney, and Moutre all still need to pit. Estep will be coming in this time. And so will a couple others. Teal, and Parker's just keyed up the radio as well, as did Moutre. So a lot of them are going to be coming this time. I think their tanks are running dry, Carmen.
Yeah, but Gonzalez will stay out another lap here ahead of Caleb Collins and Alfred Denny.
Klavitz in as well.
Yep, Klavitz in, Teal's in, as you mentioned there.
Look at this gaggle. This is racing for position, or what will be position here. So this is pretty much trying to negotiate the cars that are still staying out while fighting for position.
You see Gaiman and Dustin Hall battling.
Yeah,
that is for position.
Santiago is quite a bit ahead of this. I think he might actually need a box still. So I think this is the battle between our leaders at the moment. Gonzalez and Collins have come in.
Yeah,
Donaldson, Sharp, and Denny have still stayed out.
Yeah, Denny, Peltier, Sharp, and Donaldson,
McBride,
Smith,
Poznanski, and Smith.
So we're looking at what will eventually be the battle for the race lead. These two were two of the earlier ones to pit. Gaiman pit on lap 109, Hall pit on lap 110, Howell pit on lap 109, as did Zachary Meredith. These first four did the undercut. So we're going to see over these next 15 laps if Caitlin Height, the first of those that pit after lap 112, can make anything happen. She's already dispatched Wes Fuller.
Yeah, well, she came out in front of Fuller, I believe. Or no, she has passed Fuller, you're correct. She's getting around Sharp now, who is currently leading by the cycle. She still needs to pit, though. So, as does Denny and Donaldson and that group. But she should have the fresher tires, but with 14 laps to go, you can see her way in the back there. That's a lot of ground to try to make up.
Right
but
now,
if anybody could.
Yeah. If anyone could, it's her. And there's enough time to make it happen if these two continue to battle as much as really if these four continue to battle as they have been. Again, Santiago has to pit. He's not considered a factor here. You're really looking at 8th to 11th to 12th, depending on how quickly Height can make up time.
Swatsworth is in the mix too, and Wes Fuller is with them. So, although they're not really fighting each other, Katie's kind of on an island by herself. I think she might be one of the last cars to have a shout at this, if she will at all, in fact, because with 12 laps to go, she's got to make up an awful lot of time. And if we get a caution, we still have a couple cars out in the pit lane, and that'll change about everything. So,
yeah, McBride is in. Peltier Sharp leads, but it is a race to the pit lane for Peltier Sharp, Denny, and Smith. As that's a car, Tyler Rex
does a great job hanging on to it, but nearly lost the rear end. Sharp pitting this time around. On the radio, Matt Smith is in the pit lane. We imagine Denny and Poznanski not far off of pitting as well. So this is pretty much going to be it as we see the pack start to thin out, start to dissipate a bit. I think it might be between Hall and Gaiman here. Boy, it'd be crazy if Gaiman comes back to win this after everything that happened to him in the end here, but we'll see.
Dustin Hall still leads. He's looking for his first win this season. 6 wins to his name in HTL. Cautions out. And it's for Santiago.
And they're screaming on the radio.
My
goodness. Oh, Meredith
and Gaiman. I wonder if he spun coming out of... It was in turn 2.
They were screaming on the radio trying to warn... Santiago was trying to warn them. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry, Carmen. I don't have any words for this.
Oh dear.
But yeah, Santiago had lost it, not on the pit lane, rather just on his own.
On his own, yep. Not even on the seam.
And at this point, credit where credit's due. He is screaming on the radio, wreck off 2 off 2 off 2. I mean, he can't say it any louder.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't really know.
You gotta need warnings.
I cannot blame Santiago. He did everything that he was supposed to do in that situation. He kept it on the wall. He didn't move. He didn't try to get out of the way. He gave plenty of warning on the radio. And Gaiman in the chat saying I was committed to the exit before he said anything, so that explains why that happened. But
We're gonna go on board.
Yeah, that's just a shame. Yeah, so here you'll see, because Gaiman wasn't the only one that hit him either. You can see the car's tight.
And he's off the gas. As soon as he hears it, he's off the gas. But there's only so much he can do.
It's just a shame because there's really nothing that there. I mean, Santiago did everything correct there, and it's not that these guys are idiots. It's just there's nothing you can do. There is nothing you can do in that situation, and it's
Yeah, here's the onboard Santiago, and this is what he saw.
So the caution is going to come out here. Caution's out. You can see the light right there.
Yeah.
So I guess the argument is why are they still full throttle at this point? But I don't know. I mean, if you're going to have obviously, yes, without the spin, but as far as doing everything right, as far as being a car that has crashed, there's nothing more you could have asked from Angel there.
Yeah, Santiago, I'm not sure. We'll take a look at Meredith on board as well, because he was the other car that got a massive hit out of this.
Yeah. And it's a damn shame, because these guys were racing for the win. We were going to have a good battle here, and I'm sure it'll...
Yeah, and had it not been for gaming tagging Santiago to BMF, Meredith would have been fine.
Yeah, not that it's his fault either. It's just, I don't know. And somehow, I think Pelletier Sharp is being scored as the leader in all of this.
Correct.
Still.
She is still the leader because she...
got a free pit stop, I suppose.
She was the only car that had not pit.
Well, she was in the pit... I believe she was in the pit lane.
Nancy came in. Pelletier Sharp abandoned her pit stop and remained on the lead lap.
Well, there you go, then.
So she gets to hold onto the race lead here by means of she did what Caitlin Height did earlier in this race and just rolled through pit lane.
So she's going to have to box now, then.
No, she's already made her pit stop while we were doing the replays.
Oh, gotcha.
But when the caution came out, she was rolling through pit lane. She just aborted the pit stop and held on to the race lead. And
so she's effectively on all... So she just got the... Sorry, my brain's not working.
Yeah, everyone's on the same strategy now, but she got a free pit stop out of it while holding on to the race lead.
Well, that's huge for her. She's going to be driving her butt off to try and hang on to that. Of course, kind of running on a race-by-race basis, subbing in that car. And, of course, she's had her own events today, but she's hung in there and learned a lot running with her teammate. And might just get her a chance to go for the win here, but she's got some really good company behind her. Mansky, Howell, Hall, Height. They're going to be screaming down on that UPS machine. It's not the last time we've seen a car like this UPS machine in a position to win, but it was a different driver behind the wheel. And a completely different race. So they're double file here. We'll see what they can do. Poznansky as well, an uncharted driver. Remember, started at the very tail end of the field because he wasn't supposed to be here. He had his lap deleted. He qualified in on sudden death, and now he's looking at a shot to win. We knew if he made the show, he'd have a real good opportunity. I'm sure he's not going to waste it.
Absolutely. Pelletier, Sharp, Poznansky leading us to green flag. Then it's Howell, Hall, Height, and Swatsworth, top 6. 7 laps to go, coming to 6 to go at the line. Pelletier Sharp, really good start there, and away we go.
Yeah, great start by her. Hall's going to be coming with Height behind as well. Also, Howell is there too, so we'll see what happens. Sharp's got a good advantage right now, but Hall's got some clean air. 5 laps to go at the line. They're wrecking off of turn 4, though. Car in the wall. It looks like they might try to keep it straight for now. I couldn't quite tell who it was. They're still trying to keep it in the right direction, but I think we're going to stay green there. Good job, everybody holding on to it.
Alfred Denny was the driver that almost lost it. But yeah, they held it together enough. 5 laps to go. Dustin Hall bearing down, as will be Caitlin Height, Blake Howell, and Scott Poznansky beginning to fall backwards.
Yeah, Hall's going to get that momentum off the corner, but Sharp going to try to cherry pick and pick whatever lane Hall wants here. We'll see what she can do. It must be said, she's doing a good job handling the pressure so far. 4 laps to go. 3 wide behind them. She goes to the middle, though. That's going to open a really good opportunity for Hall to get the lead here.
Absolutely. Pelletier Sharp chose the bottom. Height following suit. Now they're side by side.
Oh, they nearly touched there going into turn 3. Height on the back bumper of that machine as well. It's going to be Hall on the top. Lily not going to be able to clear here. I think that's going to give it off to Hall. Coming to the line, there's going to be 3 laps of racing to go. And Height looking hungry as well. And the number 11, she's trying to go back-to-back here. Hall trying to add another win to his list of being the most wins in HTL, and Lily trying to be a reserve driver who gets a fat dubski. She tries to fill that hole there with Height, can't quite do it, so she's going to lose that position as well. This is all this is all Hall needs to see.
Absolutely. The more the Pelletier Sharp fights Height, the better it is for Hall. Coming to 2
Height not happy
laps to
either.
go. Yeah, 100%. You
That
saw
half
the squeeze.
block down the straightaway put Height in the wall, I believe. So another person with a target on Lily's back, I think, here, but that's going to be it, I think. I don't think that's going to give any more opportunities here. We got Howell in the wall, so unless we get a caution, I think this is all Dustin Hall. So
yeah, Dustin watched Caitlin Height steal the win at Michigan away from him. Couldn't run him down and couldn't run Caitlin Height down enough. Dustin Hall takes the white flag. We have 1 lap to go. Can he do it?
yeah, I think he's got it here. I don't know. Height might have damage too, but she's going to give it a go here. Might do the Hail Mary in the final corner. McDonald bounces off the 95 of Blake Howell as they come down the back stretch. But Height saying good win here, so I don't think she's going to do a thing. Oh, and Pelletier Sharp turns Cody Giles down the back straightaway. But Checkers is out for Dustin Hall.
He's going to win it.
Yeah, it'll be Height second, Howell third. McDonald and Poznansky the top 5. I'm not sure what happened on the backstretch, but Sharp falls out of the top 5 and has a bit of an incident post-race to boot. So, but good win for Dustin Hall. It'll be his 7th win in HTL competition. The pole sitter found his way back at the end there.
Took them all race to get back there, but did it. Caitlin Height, 2nd place. Blake Howell, 3rd. Dylan McDonald, first top 5 of the season, in 5th. Or in 4th, excuse me, had to put Scott Poznansky.
Cody Giles fell from 5th place to 24th after getting turned on the last lap.
We'll see what happened there in a second.
Oh. The post-race bumping begins.
As we saw in Michigan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll have a look at what happened on the last lap in a moment, just trying to keep an eye on everything going on behind them. I'm trying to see somebody got into the back. There was a couple cars that got spun down pit lane, and yeah, I don't know.
We'll take a look at it here in just a second, but here's the Goose Graphics winning moment. Dustin Hall, 7th win in HTL competition. Puts him well on ahead of Frankie Barroso, who only raced the first season of HTL competition. And very subdued celebrations, I must say.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot to celebrate as far as the on-track product. There's a lot of things to talk about and a lot of good messages headed into this race and for everything this race was about, but I don't really blame Dustin. I wouldn't. I mean, he's used to winning these things. I'm sure he's won races that have had a little bit more on-track product than this, but still burning it down, rightfully deserved. He was on pole. He was the fastest car today, and he hung on at the end. So really good bit of driving there.
Yeah, spin it through the grass here a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Try to speak to our winners here shortly if we can.
Yep, 100%. We'll be talking to them in a little bit. Blake Howell, 3rd place. Caitlin Height, 2nd place.
Yeah, so once that's done, we do have the replay of the end here.
So here's what happened with Giles. We got both of our cameras have got this one, so we got lucky with that. But yeah, it's not gonna be pretty.
Yeah, so Lily's getting past. She was stuck on the bottom there. I think she just felt more comfortably down there. They're starting to get racy on her outside. Now what you're going to see is she's going to reach up and try to side draft the 6 car, and it just won't quite work for her. So on board here, there you see the battle for the win out front. She's trying to hang on to a top 5, and she kind of just moves up a little too far and just hooks the 6. I thought for a second that maybe the 6 moved down. Maybe he did. There's more angles to look at, but I think Lily was trying to go up and side draft and just kind of hook the 6 car and spins him around. Obviously not what Cody Giles was looking for at the end of this one. And looking here.
Go from the chopper dance line above.
Yeah. Take a look.
Yeah.
No, Giles actually moves up the racetrack. So
he expects it coming, and
well, I think he's trying to line up. I mean, if we look at it again there, the 6 definitely, if you look at the wall compared to the 6, he's trying to line up with McDonald there in the 38. He was down about a half a lane and then moves back up. So watch the walls here. That's what I'm looking at. Moves up and then, yeah. I'm
he did
afraid
a good job saving it, because that could have gotten ugly. We saw that with Kevin Gibney Jr.
Yeah, but it still is ugly for him, because it doesn't matter at that point. Giles finishes 24th. Honestly, the way this race has been, his luck would have been better if he did just hook it right back up the track. Maybe would have finished 15th. But
right.
Yeah, I'm afraid that one's on Lily. I think that's just side draft. And of course, she has everything to race for there. She's trying to race for her first top 5. She's racing for the win. Just trying to take good advantage of take good advantage of an opportunity in front of her, and she ends up with a 6th place finish, which I think will be a career best for her. But yeah, just kind of like what we saw earlier with her, just a little too much here, a little too much there, and unfortunately, yeah, it's just racing hard at the end.
Extremely hard racing. There's people over the line there as far as like what would probably normally be acceptable, and now now all the post-race sort of debriefing begins. We see all the teams together here. And
I'm glad I'm not Sosi.
I'm glad you're not me.
Yeah,
because I have to cover. We get to cover most of the stuff. So, Mark Parker's first thing he posted is the popcorn gif. Like, let's get started, because he knows.
I want to just give a quick shout out. Wes Fuller at the end of all of that was involved in incidents early on. Couldn't have an opportunity to race too hard most of the day. Ends up with an 11th place finish, and that one's going to feel pretty good. So,
yeah, 100%. Obviously,
I know there's a lot of people rooting him on tonight, especially. I think we all kind of were, but
yeah, that is. I mean, it's just frustrating. You look at how this race is, and I think that's just universally the tone. Like, not a lot's been said as far as like the community server chat so far. I think it's overall just the understanding of, hey, this was one of them races.
Also, somebody was asking to check the steering. We have it on board here at Giles, and
let's look real quick. We'll move over to the dynamic scene. Well,
yeah, we also have
that is the Discord server. There's the mistake we made at Michigan Daytona.
Oh, it's okay. We're not the ones that are making the mistakes today.
There we go. Here's the onboard.
Yeah, just a quick look here. I think it's just one of those deals. You'll see the 23 move closer. I don't really see the wheel on Giles move too much. I checked Lily's, and I don't really think that hers moved a whole heck of a lot either. I think they just were trying to fill a hole, and it wasn't quite there. But, oh, God, that's spooky.
Yeah, very scary. That could have gotten a lot uglier a lot quickly.
Yeah, and then here's his run to the line. Obviously, you can just see position after position going around. The frustration, I'm sure, through the roof. And there it is. There's your proof. The frustration, very strong, and the Alt F4 for good measure. But honestly, I do feel for Cody, but join the club. I think there's a line of about 100 people that are there's a line of about 48 other drivers that are pretty pissed. So yeah, there's 3 of them at least that might be pretty satisfied, and hopefully we can talk to a couple of them. But
yeah, we're gonna kick things off with Blake Howell, the 3rd place finisher here this evening. His debut race had a lot of meaning behind it, not only for his team but the satellite teams around Rage Motorsports and Towtown Racing. A lot of drivers putting on the teal and donning that here for Kansas. So I'll talk to him here in just a second. Kind of letting everyone kind of get ready to go here. Kind of just seeing if there's any news that pops up here. But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. So we're going to talk to Blake Howe here. Blake, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Yes, I do.
Alrighty. Obviously, a chaotic race, probably not what you were hoping for, but you did a phenomenal job throughout. Not only managing the chaos, you qualified well, you qualified 6th, and you kept it in the top 5 here to get a good result out of it this evening. Just kind of walk us through, obviously your debut race, you're kind of getting into the system. How on your toes were you, how did you have to be during this race tonight? Obviously, everyone had various excursions tonight.
You know, I was told by Matthew before the race started that last race there was no cautions. So I was expecting a fairly clean race, and this is what I got instead. Definitely chaotic for my debut. First stage, I thought everything was going fine. Sure, there was some cautions, but I stayed up front, and then whenever the whole pit cycle thing happened, got put to the back, and that was whenever I like to say the fun started, because me and Dustin coming through the pack like that. But overall, I was on my toes the entire race from the end of stage 1 through the end. But honestly, no other way I would have had it. I thought it was awesome.
Well, it was a good effort from you. Obviously,
muted there.
P3 there. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're good. I was going to kind of talk about the technicality. Technically, it's going to get more difficult going on. Next week's Road America, then you have Richmond going up, then Talladega. You're jumping in at an interesting time, missing the first 2 races of the season, but looking at Road America, looking at Richmond, where does your expertise lie here? Because a lot of us didn't know much about you until yesterday. Sort of like, tell us about kind of like how you're going to handle these next 2 races, because it's being thrown to the lion's den.
Well, I'll be there for Road America next week. I love road racing, so I'm not too worried about that. All I know is I've heard a lot about the 51, so that's who I'm going to be trying to beat. But I'm a reserve driver for Rage Motorsports in Titletown, so I don't know when I'll be back after Road America. I'm filling in for Wes there, and I don't know when I'll be back again.
Well, I think you made a pretty good case as to why you should probably get some more seat time. 3rd place here. Again, chaotic race. Easily could have fallen to the wayside there. But obviously, really good result here tonight. Before we kind of let you go here, obviously, a lot of people need to kind of decompress and kind of get over that race. But does anyone you want to shout out and say thank you to? Blake, the floor is yours. Congrats on a podium on HTL debut, and obviously, hopefully, we get to see more of this at Road America next week.
Yeah. Before I go, I want to shout out Red Duck Comics. Shout out Ray's Energy, Peak Antifreeze, Wes Fuller, and Dylan McDonald for convincing me to come over here and let me drive for him, and 1-3 Speed for the button box they've provided me, and all that they do to support me.
Well, Blake, again, fantastic seeing a podium on debut, showing a little bit of what you can do here in the next-gen machines. Hopefully you'll see more of that next week at Road America, but kind of take some time to decompress and relax. Enjoy the podium for what it's worth, and we'll be seeing you next week.
I will. Thank you.
That was Blake Howell, our 3rd place finisher here this evening. Obviously not quite the race that he wanted to kind of jump into with the amount of insanity that we saw tonight. But a good race nonetheless for him, and a good race for Rage Motorsports, who got 3rd and 4th at the line with both Howell and McDonald going in the top 5. Next up on the list, we got Caitlin Height. 2nd place tonight, finishing behind Dustin Hall. They inverted how they finished at Michigan. We'll talk to her real quick. Katie, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, hi.
So that was a race. We thought Michigan was chaotic. This one was even more chaotic for different reasons. And Don't worry, number 11's not in that controversy this time. You don't have to worry about making any memes or jokes. You just had to race flat out and try to chase down Dustin Hall. Another podium, back to back here, second place behind Dustin. Just walk us through how you got through the race, because you had to come through the field a little bit.
Yeah, like started up front and then there was just a incident that happened under that first caution, and it didn't like cause any damage, but it was like better to have it happen lap 3 instead of 1:33. So, I wasn't gonna like get upset, but from there it was just like I had to grind through restart after restart and possible pit strategies that never seemed to go my way when they would happen. But at the very end there, if that one caution didn't come out, it was still going to be close between me and Dustin, but it would have been tire strategy instead of just a flat out race. But still, it was, for what it's worth, it's a good result. Just wish it was a little easier between the start and the finish.
You look at how the last couple races have been. Road America next week, going to be a change of pace. Obviously, road courses limit the amount of cautions you're going to see. How do you kind of look at that as a potential like reset, kind of a way to kind of like cleanse the palate going into the first road course race of the season?
Not really, because road courses are just at least for me, it's just focus lap after lap, corner after corner, and then just, if there's a mistake, knowing me, I just get a bit more frustrated and just sort of like trying to fight the frustration of making mistakes and turning them into bigger ones. So if I'm by myself, I'm fighting myself. If I'm with other cars, then it's, an even bigger challenge. But it'll be a pretty good test to see what I have with as far as the race pace in the next gen on road courses.
Well, it's been 2 podiums in a row. Obviously, you were locked into the playoffs with your win at Michigan 2 weeks ago, but obviously this helps. Before we kind of let you go and kind of unwind and relax and get ready for what I'm assuming is going to be a long week with the 24 Daytona coming up potentially, and then obviously next week Road America. Before we let you go, if there's anyone you want to shout out and say thank you to, the floor is yours, Katie. Congrats on another podium in a row, second place tonight here at Kansas.
Thanks. I just want to say thank you to Josh and Blake for putting on HTL. Obviously, the Arrowhead Racing to put me in the car, and both you and Chrissy up here in the booth and in the broadcast studio, just putting on the production. And once again, all the dolls back at the shop.
Well, Katie, enjoy the second place finish. You will take the points lead going into Road America. Enjoy it, and hopefully we get to see a little bit more of you on the podium here next week.
It'll be tough, but thank you.
Thank you. That was Caitlin Height, second place finisher here tonight at Kansas. Obviously, kind of breaking down sort of how different Road America is going to be compared to Kansas. We got one more interview on the list, and that is our race winner, Dustin Hall, here in Victory Lane. We have to talk to the winner, the driver of the number 3, back in Victory Lane. Dustin, this is Carmen from the ABN booth. You got a copy?
Hey, Carmen, yeah, I got you.
Alrighty. What a way to get another win. 7th win in HTL. Again, it was between you and Katie at the front of the field. But you got one. The strategy that got away at Michigan 2 weeks ago got you the win here tonight. Just walk us through that race for you, because the strategy almost fell apart a couple times, and you managed to keep it together and keep it held on and on the rails. So kind of just walk us through how you were reacting to everything tonight.
There was enough going on to keep me pretty occupied. Mostly just trying to keep from running over people or getting run over on restarts. But the race it started out great. I think we led every lap at first stage and won that, so we got some points there. And then second stage, I think our pit strategy was right on. We held to the front of the pack, and then and pitted, right down the middle. And then I come off pit road down the back straightaway, and the yellow comes out, and I'm a lap down. So had to take a wave around there. We got back up to mid pack. Topped off on fuel in that last stage. On I think it was the second to last caution. So we could have just one stopped it from there. Caution came out and threw the wrench in that strategy. So at that point, it just became, we're just gonna have to go. There's no sense in saving tires when we can only manage to go 10, 12 laps. So, we just drove it like we stole it from then on.
Well, the drove it like you stole it mentality definitely worked out tonight in races like this. Road America is going to get a lot more complicated. Obviously, Katie kind of talked a little bit earlier about just how different it was, or how different it's going to be between these last two races at Michigan and the Michigan and Kansas compared to what it's going to be next week. How do you prepare for that? Obviously, we talked about in the community chat, you don't really practice for these. You just kind of go and wing it. Do you do any prep for Motor America? Do you kind of set it up differently?
Yeah, I'll run the 24. That's I think you're going to see a different cast of characters running up front next week. We'll give it our all. I think the biggest key is going to be dialing in your brake settings, because that is the one thing you can adjust. So getting a brake setting where you can woe the car without locking tires is going to be huge. So I'll probably have to put in a little bit of practice for that one, just more than anything, to dial in the those brake master cylinders and the bias combination. Find that combo that I'm happy with or comfortable with, and then just get refamiliar with the track. And like I say, you're going to see a different cast of characters up front. I'm no road racer, but I think if I can keep it on the asphalt for however many laps that race is, I'll come out of there with a good finish.
Well, that's kind of what we're hoping for. Again, 7 race wins in HTL now. It puts you firmly in the playoff contention spots now. You join Caitlin Height, you join Nathan Estep as far as being in the podium position or in the playoff positions at the moment. Before we let you go, obviously it was a big week for Team Conti this past week, and obviously going into the 24, it's going to be an even bigger week as far as just being active on iRacing. But is there anyone in particular you want to shout out and say thank you to, Dustin? The floor is yours. Congrats on the race win tonight. 7th now in HTL competition.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you to you guys for broadcasting. You guys do a great job. I on behalf of the field, I apologize for the show we gave you to commentate on tonight. We're better than that. We can do better. And I have confidence in the admins, Josh and Blake. They'll get this sorted out. And we'll come back better. Obviously next week we'll have no cautions, so there's a plus. But even beyond that, I think they'll put some things in place that will improve. I mean, they're in a thankless position right now, and I can't imagine their DMs right now. It's gotta be ugly, and I feel for them. I'll just say here publicly that they wanna reach out and ask my opinions or for any input, kind of a driver council kind of a thing. I'm happy to do so. Let's be constructive and make it better rather than and I say this to the entire league, dial down the critique and whatnot. It doesn't accomplish anything, but for you guys who are broadcasting, for those who tune in to watch, we should probably give you a better show than that. So we'll work on that as a league. And again, Blake, Josh, guys, I appreciate you guys, and I recognize the thankless position you're in, and here for you guys. Big thanks to the family and friends that watch. Obviously, Team Conti, you mentioned them. Got to spend the week at Media Days in Charlotte for the weekend. Just got back last night. That was a great time. Blast. Michael Conti retiring. That'll be an emotional season for us. But big thanks to those guys, and always fun to go hang out with them in person. And then lastly, of course, not least, my nephew, Jimmy. I love you, buddy. I miss you every day. And, this one's for you. We hung it out there for you, bud.
Well, Dustin, congratulations on the win tonight. Obviously, still well earned. And obviously a big week coming up ahead across the entire landscape. So go and enjoy it. Relax tonight. Enjoy the race win. And we'll be seeing you next week at Road America.
Sounds good, Carmen. Thank you.
That was Dustin Hall, our race winner here tonight. The podium interviews on the run here. Again, top 20 on your screen. We'll go through how the entire field finished here. Again, the fact that we had so many cars still finishing, I think, is astounding. Dustin Hall, top of the board. Again, Caitlin Height, second place. Blake Howell, third. We heard from all three of them tonight. Dustin, very grateful for just being in the position. Obviously, a big week for him with Team Conti all around. Dylan McDonald, great recovery for him. Again, we got on him really hard the first couple races of the season, but he said that, hey, I'm gonna go and we're gonna do it. We're gonna change and we're gonna kind of alter how we kind of handle things, and paid dividends. Fourth place with Blake Howell, his teammate, there in third. Congratulations to him. Phenomenal effort there. Scott Poznanski in fifth place. Again, deep racing sort of driver. He's their fill-in driver. Similar to how Blake Howell was sitting in. Poznanski finishing fifth after having to do a second qualifying run to even just get into the field.
Yeah, sudden death to a top 5 for him. So, really good job.
Yeah, electrifying for him. And he was center of the action for a period of time. Lily Pelletier Sharp, first top 10 for her in this series. Sixth place here tonight. The best driver for NFG Motorsports, who didn't have the best night all around. That being said, Shad Swats for a seventh. Dean Clavitt eighth. He fell off there at the end. Matthew Boone, the defending series champion, ninth. And Zach Meredith, despite being in that caution with Angel Santiago and Josh Gaiman, still recovered to a top 10 finish. Just kind of put a bit of a cap on how crazy this race was. But that's the top 10. Zach Meredith somehow made it in there ahead of Wes Fuller.
Yeah, and Wes with a good run there, of course. I think probably deserved a little bit better of a race there, but was set on the back foot very early on. Still something to go home about, at least, with a good finish in a race. That means a lot to him, obviously. Gutekunst had a good effort as well. Santiago and Woodard making the most of it. Santiago was involved in that wreck with Meredith and rebounded as well, so things could have been worse for those two. Woodard has been involved in a lot of cautions. None of them were his fault, so good to see him have an okay day as a rebound. Teammate E-Step right behind. Then you had Collins, who had a really hard wreck, along with Teal, who's had a fair share of knocks today as well, sandwiching Ricky Gonzalez, and that's down to 18th.
Yeah, we're going to kind of go further on down the order here, if I can find the right page to scroll. Further on down, Kevin Gimney Jr., you can tell that his race was going to go well. When the first time he mentioned him, he was taking the Larson line into the infield, and it just never got better for him. Alfred Denny, same for him. Avoided a lot of accidents, just couldn't make any progress. He was always stuck back there. And the one time we did see him, he got pushed through the grass and did a really good job saving it, but that was about it. An uneventful or unremarkable race for Alfred Denny there in 20th. Henderson, upsetting day for him. What was supposed to be a big race, was supposed to be a big momentous occasion.
He was doing good, I think. I believe he was one of those cars that got involved in the late stage calamities. That we were too many things going on towards the end to even look back on, but I believe he was one of those cars that got stuffed in the wall. I know Moutre also had his fair share of issues today. McBride was back and forth, unfortunately settles in the middle, but then Cody Giles getting turned by Sharp on the last lap, falls out of the top 5 to 24th, not what he was going to be looking for. Matt Smith and DJ Anderson similarly looking for better results today, but they do finish one lap down. Parkhurst and Shangle likewise one lap down. Gary Donaldson, Josh Gaiman, Tyler Rex, Dalton Hayes having a bit worse days on down from Chaffin Jewell. Bora Whitlock, Hunter Whitlock didn't really get very far in this race. Britton did not start this race, and neither did Zach Woods. So Whitlock, the last scored driver.
that's gonna do it for tonight from Kansas Speedway for HTL. It's been a wild night. It's been absolutely insanity just all around here. For everyone that stuck around and stuck with us here, we appreciate it so much. We thank you all so much for your support. The action continues for us here on ABN. I'll be in the booth tomorrow night for the ABN Super Sprint Championship. Tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern is when that all kicks off. GTE's racing at, they'll be racing at Silverstone. So that'll be a lot of fun. Wednesday night, Hyper Formula action. Hyper Formula, our World Championship competition, Wednesday evening. And that is going to be from the Hockenheimring German Grand Prix. And then obviously we have the Champ Car Preseason Challenge Thursday night. Kristina and Strix in the booth for that. That'll be from Richmond on Thursday evening. So a very busy week. And then obviously we have the 24 Hours of Daytona. We will be broadcasting our race for the 24 beginning on Saturday, 7 a.m. So we'll be up bright and early for all of that action. But again, thank you everyone for showing up and supporting us these last couple days. It was a crazy broadcast last night for the ARCS Draft 2023. Crazy race today here at Kansas for the Wendy Joe Memorial 200 for HTL. And a lot more action to come this week. On behalf of my co-commentator, Kristina Ryan, on behalf of everyone here on HTL and everyone here on an ABN, I'm Carmen Hardy. Until next time, stay safe, stay healthy, try to enjoy your week as you get ready for the 24. So long, everybody.